So here we are once again. It's our birthday today, celebrating 10 years on Force 13. And as you can see, we're all set up here, and in the background we are lighting the cake. Fantastic times here at Force 13 HQ. Can you believe it's been so long? Apparently they're having trouble lighting. What's going on back there? This wasn't my idea. Anyway, oh, there we go, it's sparkling out now. That's nice. So we've got our cake and we've got our sparkles and we've got everything going on here at Force 13 HQ. It's a lovely way to start our birthday celebrations. We've got loads of stuff coming up tonight. We've got some of our members, they're being interviewed. We're going to take a look into what... You've set off the smoke alarms. They didn't think of that. So, there we have it. That's an excellent start to Force 13 Live. How about we go straight into... I'm just going to continue like a professional. We're going to go straight into those interviews, and we'll have loads of other stuff coming up on Force 13 Live, including monthly summaries and more Super Cyclone Challenge.
Hi, I'm Opharia. I exist. I'm a member of Force 13, a contributor. Joined Landfall Date of Yota back in 2020. Now I'm mainly part of video production in the US team. I'm also one of the heads of the gaming team. As you can see, I own a lot of games. At least more than one. In regards to like personal stuff, like I do mainly just chill here because the US team's currently going through a bit of a revitalization. And then in terms of hobbies, it's gaming, and then there's also one thing that I'm known for in the contributor hub, and that's all. These are desert berries. My fan just fell on my leg.
Wow.
Yes, this costs way too much money, and I don't know why my financial decisions are so bad, but it's mainly that. I'm the class clown, if you want to, per se, but I know when to get serious. Okay, so this goes way back to the ancient year of 2012. Alright? I was in 4th grade, and I was fascinated with hurricanes and all that jazz, probably because of Sandy. And so I looked up hurricane on the YouTube search bar, and then all I see is old cyclone animations from that year, from Force 13. And that popped up. That's where it started, and I've just been following since. Always wanted to join, really, but I never really felt comfortable with it until, last year when the hurricane season was just an absolute mess. And so I'm like, I can bring some stuff to the table. I know some weather stuff, and I know how to do video editing. I could probably do something. And so I joined, and my first thing that I did was the Yota live stream, which, looking back, kind of a big first start. And then going on after that, I mainly am here for live stream coverage, but now I'm slowly starting to get into the hang of video production for video updates. I've done one on Wanda, the only Wanda update, with the amazing tagline of Wanda's wandering around in the Atlantic. And I'm also part of the US team, where often, if we ever go live, I'm usually there, and if we have graphics that need to be done, I'm usually the one who does them. But I was offered at one point a position for the graphics and video production team, and I declined because I just wasn't that proud of what it was that was caught wind from some people in the server. So I waited a bit. Now I'm here mainly doing live stuff. It's just that I'm a weather nerd in general. I was impacted by Sandy in regards to dealing with tropical storm force wind gusts uh for way longer than it probably should have lasted. Starting on I believe it was the day it made landfall, it's just massive. You had wind warnings all the way from for about every single state east of the Mississippi. And that was mainly it. It's also that they spin. And one of the things I do is that I take like tissue paper or something and I wrap them up into like little hurricanes that I do for stress and stuff like that. Um, I just think they look cool more than anything. And just studying how they work. I think the most memorable hurricane for me was Irma. Because for the first time in state history, I experienced the first time that my county was ever observed in a tropical storm warning. And that was an experience and a half. Our big tree in the front yard split in half and fell into the well house. Nothing bad happened. One of my cats was left outside for most of Irma, and so when I ran out to get her and I was feeling the tropical storm force winds going against my face, and I picked her up from underneath the little garden thing that we had and ran inside. But like it was exhilarating. And it's just mainly that. It's that little devil in me saying, "Oh, that's cool." There's a lot of things that changed from Force 13. One of the things I remember from the very old animation was like the little thing at the bottom. It was the little, like, it was like a CNN news line, just various facts about him as it was scrolling by. We don't use them anymore because I'm pretty sure they're just really inconvenient and boring. Except for worldwide, but that's a different beast in general. It's mainly just gotten more and more sophisticated because you have the animations, and that's the main thing that Force 13 is known for. I'm still mesmerized when I look at the 2017 Atlantic hurricane season animation and see Pikapedia Animations comments saying, "Yo, this is cool." Because I'm like, of all the people to comment that, why him? And so I remember that vividly. Live coverage, I don't really remember tracking until about 2015. Of course, I'm in the US team because that is where I live, and so I have a massive bias towards US weather. One of the it's just seeing it evolve is that you had the very simplified animations from 2012, which for their time was very impressive, especially for their time. And looking at it now, it's just evolved so much. And then you look and realize, oh god, Black Belt is animating CHP6 again, and then everyone loses their mind. And so it's just been like a complete. It started out with small Atlantic hurricane season animations. Now we're doing animations of everything. On the extra channel, we're doing. People can suggest their own hypothetical hurricane season to torture Xavier. It's a lot to digest, especially considering exactly how far this project has come, especially since I've started watching it. And I think it's just evolved at a rate that I honestly wish I could. I'm not even sure if I'm allowed to say, but I'm going to mention it anyway. So back November 30th last year in the contributor hub, there was one message of, I believe it was an image of Super Typhoon Haiyan, and then right under it, it was Black Belt saying, "This is the best area of interest I've ever seen, not marked as an AOI." That started this lovely little thing on my desktop called the Force 13 No Context folder. And I'm leaving it at that. In terms of, like, memorable things, I think making my own, the April 27th documentary was an experience in of itself. My phone just went off. That was just the biggest time of where everyone came together to support me and get stuff done. And also just the US team in general. If there's anything that really, anything funny, it's usually because I'm an idiot. So when it comes to that, that's really the funny part of it. But I think one of the main driving forces as to why Force 13 works for all things it is that despite the fact that I can be extremely insufferable at times, people still want me here. And that's something that I do appreciate a lot. And especially with... I swear, I'm going to probably have to mute my phone. Especially with how it's been going as of late, and things are continuing to go on, and especially with Hurricane Week, I think that there is a lot. There's some things that we can improve on. There's some ideas I have in regards to what the team can do next in regards to different content types, but that's far ahead in the future. And I think right now we're in a decent position as is. And if there's anything memorable, it's just the very warm welcome that I received on my first time being here. Force 13 Gaming, I haven't done anything. Not because I'm lazy, but because I haven't found the time to do it. I'm thinking about starting stuff in regards to more Nintendo-based stuff, and then, of course, I think I'm going to start with the new Pokemon games that I pre-ordered. I could probably start streaming that sometime soon, but especially as school gets busier, or rather, it started next semester, and then there's also the Rocket League stuff going on, and then there's a bunch of other stuff that needs to be done. Is that the gaming channel is kind of in a weird spot right now because we're trying to revive it, but also at the same time we have no idea how. That's the consensus I have. At least that's what I think. If anything, I'm probably going to focus more on single player stuff rather than multiplayer stuff. I'd probably leave that to Devin, Ethan, and everyone else. And so that's my plans for the gaming channel. Of course, it's subject to change. I'm probably going to start stuff coming in December. Something small, probably like the classic Sonic games, and then going from there. Like I said, I do the thing with Hurricanes to do that. I work at a retail store, and that's where I am usually because they really like putting me on multiple shifts. In regards to what I do, I just chill, hang around, and if I'm not doing anything Force 13 or gaming related, I'm probably making something for my own personal channel, or I'm spending time with my grandparents, or I'm outside talking to myself, which is really sad now that I think about it. But it's just been, that's what I typically do. It's not extremely productive of stuff that I do, but I just really like doing it. If I'm absolutely bored out of my mind, I'll just try and sit in a Discord call until someone else joins, which, depending on the days, either successful or not.
Hello, my name is Josh. I'm from Perth, Western Australia, the land down under, and I'm a Force 13 contributor. I mainly work on the Force 13 Australian region channel. I'm making video updates. I'm planning on appearing on live streams and basically having a lot of fun meeting a lot of people from around the world through Force 13. It's a great experience, and with such a large community, there's infinite people to meet, essentially, and there's a lot of nice people around, and I like Force 13 quite a lot. I also run my own social media pages, and I track tropical cyclones on there, so I have been doing that for a couple of years now, and I'm planning on bringing a lot of that sort of knowledge over to Force 13, and I can hopefully mix with the people that are doing, say, meteorology degrees over there and learning more stuff off them. So it's a little bit of an education trip along with Force 13 as well. So I'm very much looking forward to my coming years with Force 13. I think the first video that I watched was a Dorian update by Tim. I think it was Dorian update 6 or 7 when it was approaching Category 4 status or something like that. And I remember thinking, because I was also making short narrations on Storms and Dorian at the time as well, and I was thinking, this is so far above what I'm doing. And I genuinely thought you guys were official, so I was actually quoting your data in my little skits that probably more so belonged on like TikTok or something like that. So that was the first video that I watched. I think I joined the Discord server in May 2000 or it might have been a little bit earlier than that, maybe April 2020, ahead of the 2020 hurricane season. And I've been in there on and off pretty much ever since and met a lot of nice people through there and slowly became a part of Force 13 myself, and I'm very proud of that. I think, again, building off what I saw from that Dorian update was, wow, these guys are outperforming me to the power of 1,000,000. I want to learn how these guys are doing it. And it was sort of as a learning goal at the start, but then I saw Force 13, they're sort of at the apex of the weather community. They're at the absolute tippy top, and I thought, I really want to be a part of these people, and I really want to have that sort of, I don't want to make myself sound power hungry or something, that position where I could help out with Force 13 and become one of the team. And when I found out that they had a contributor hub back in like June, I was like, I'm going to be on that contributor hub. I really want to make it. And it took a little bit of time, but I'm so glad I made it there. And it's really just been, the whole purpose has been to learn stuff and meet new people that I just wouldn't have met, because I'm not exactly a very outgoing person in real life, but I think I've talked to maybe 500 people in the Force 13 contributor hub, which is way more than what I talk to in real life. So I think it's also given me that social life that I probably wouldn't have had in real life. I think my all-time favorite moment would be my first live stream appearance. I can't exactly remember when it was. I think it was late 2020 or early 2021. I can remember tracking Typhoon Info with Force 13 quite extensively. So again, my live stream appearances have probably been my favorite. Joining the AU team as well, that was so proud. I was so happy making my first update to the AU channel. I was like, this was so much fun to make, and to have a look at the response that it got as well from the community. I had like people that have been a part of Force 13 for many years knocking on my messages saying, great job, that was an amazing update that you made. And I was like, wow, that's amazing that I'm being credited by these people who have actually grown the Force 13 project from the ground. That was amazing. So again, the favorite moments, but probably another really favorite moments that I undervalue quite a lot is probably the friends that I've made along the way. The head of the Australian channel, David, and Timothy, two people that I count as very close friends. Meeting them and talking to them and finding out more about their lives and what they do, that again has been amazing and a lot of fun. Talking to them and numerous other people as well, not just limited to them. As I said earlier, 500 people likely that I've met and made friends with in Force 13. All of them I count as special friends to me. I think my favourite was when I was recording AU predictions, Australian region predictions on the green screen. And I have my green screen propped up by blue tack. The green screen collapsed, it did. And I remember I was recording it and I was just about to say and the green screen fell and I was like, and you green screen. Yeah, that was probably my favorite blooper. But I really am looking forward to Force 13 week, because it is, Force 13 is an amazing project, but having like even a Storm update made by one person is amazing. But when the entire community can come together, all 120 or something like that contributors coming together to make a collective week of content, that to me that's amazing. That is 120 people from all walks of life from all around the world coming together to make a week of high quality content for anyone around the world to watch. I feel like that's going to be the absolute highlight of my Force 13 year. As I mentioned, I run my own page. Amassed a bit of a following over there, heavily inspired from Force 13, as I said. Amazing quality content. I think my first Storm updates actually use the world reveal or whatever the music's called for a couple of times until I was told not to. So that was fun. But apart from that, it's coming into summer down in Australia, so I imagine I'll be doing a lot of holidaying, a lot of on the boat for summer, which is a lot of fun. Cricket as well, so I'll be quite busy over summer. So again, outside of life, I'm full, and now in this online life, I'm full with Force 13, which is really cool. I really enjoy that.
Hi, I'm Thomas Schwent. I'm one of the many contributors here at Force 13. I've been around since 2019. I've been a full member at certain times, and right now I am on the graphics team, video production team, and United States team. Well, we have to wind the clocks all the way back to 2013, May 31st in particular. And a lot of people, especially in the United States, they're going to know that day for a large tornado that occurred down in El Reno, the strongest tornado ever observed, really, and the widest one ever observed. That's not the tornado I'm talking about, though. There was a large tornado about a mile wide that hit my grandparents' house up here in the St. Louis region where I live. And that tornado is what happened to spark my interest in weather in general. My grandparents are okay. They're still alive and well today. But that experience was a terrifying one, and it really sparked this interest and passion I didn't really know I had. Yeah, well, microcasting St. Louis was the first my first major outreach onto YouTube for weather. I'd done a few things on my personal account before then, but this is when I established a brand. This is when I actually started, I guess, trying to make a name for myself on the internet, doing weather broadcasts and things like that. So I made local weather forecasts on a daily basis for over 2 years for the St. Louis region, and I even extended out into the tropics a bit, which was directly inspired by watching the content that was being produced over here at Force 13. But microcasting was my first attempt to make a name for myself in the weather community. It was late 2013. Typhoon Haiyan was about to strike the Philippines. And in the first video that I ever saw was of you doing coverage on that. It was a video update. I don't remember exactly which one it was. It was one before landfall. It was before the big 195-mile-an-hour update. Um, when was it? I don't know. It was a little bit before that, but the first video I ever saw was of you covering Haiyan, and I thought that the video was excellent. And it was a huge inspiration for me and what I wanted to be like when I got older. Way back in 2017 was when I was first considering joining the team. I'm sure that I sent you some annoying YouTube comments and things like that in regards to that. I had no professionalism at the time, really. I didn't really know formally how to ask until 2019, when I did end up joining. And as you remember, I sent what was it, like a paragraph or something via email of all things. I didn't even know what Discord was. I was completely in the dark. I didn't really know how to produce videos the way that we did over here. I didn't know how to produce graphics the way we did over here. I didn't really know how to do anything at the time. So it was quite the experience getting in and learning how to do all that stuff. Marcel made the decision that it would be a fantastic idea to ask as personal questions as possible as soon as I joined the project, such as um, where I live, how old I am, things of this nature. Basically, all the red flags you could ever have for when you're first talking to a random stranger, Marcel exhibited. Um, I will say I know pretty much for a fact that Marcel was not doing it out of malice, but it was off-putting to say the least. Although I love Marcel, and I think he's a fantastic human being, and he's been a great source of laughs and comedy, especially through this rough time during COVID. Because when I came into the contributor hub, there were a lot of great things going on, but you could tell there were a lot of things that were in their infancy, if that makes sense, especially in terms of organizing everything so everyone was able to do things the same. So what I did, and I think this is the most major thing I've ever done, was I consolidated this thing into what I call the graphics package. And the creation of a graphics package was the beginning of a better organized way of doing things. And like today, we have literally tens of graphics packages organized to do different things. And of course, I can't possibly have made all of them, but the beginning of that kind of organizational thing is something that I created. And I also kind of created the design language, if you will, that's used on a lot of things today. Not everything, but especially on the US side of things. The designs for all the graphics over there and all the video updates, that's something that I spearheaded. And the main reason and the main way that I was able to get to that point was I worked at it. It's as simple as that. There's no secret to it, really. It's just that I really wanted to improve things. And the way that I did that was I looked at what other people had been making. I saw what I wanted to improve. I made a huge list of the things I wanted to see, and then I made a bunch of different concepts until I came across one that I liked and the people in the hub liked. I believe I appeared on the US channel before the live channel, or not the live channel, the main channel. Um, and I believe that my first major live appearance was for a severe weather outbreak in April of 2019. I don't remember the exact day, but that is, at least to my knowledge, the first live event I ever did. It felt very strange being on the air. I mean, I'd done it before. I've been on microcasting and I've done live events over there. I've covered the worst of the worst in terms of tornadoes. We had a violent tornado that ripped through Illinois that I'd covered before. But I didn't really have many eyes on me. At most, I'd had about 100, 150 people watching. I wasn't used to the hundreds, if not thousands, of people that have come to watch on the US channel. And so there was a lot of nerves, but overall, I'm glad that I've been able to do it, and I'm thankful for the opportunity. And I hope to continue to serve people with the best live coverage that I can. Favorite moments of all time. I will say, I think that it's kind of difficult to say because there have been many good moments, number one, and number two, the other moments are my favorite for one reason, and my least favorite for another. I think that in terms of live coverage, one of the best services I've done was covering the landfall of Hurricane Yota last year. That was pretty major. So I guess that's one of my favorite moments in terms of being able to serve people, and one of my least favorite moments in terms of real world impacts. And I'd say my other favorite moment was golf with your friends. Of all things, golf with your friends with Strat and Marcel is one of the greatest pastimes I've ever had in my life. Um, that game, especially the last one we ended up playing, I felt like that was an awesome load of fun. Um, of course, the evolution of things that happened to that game, not so fun, but the game itself was quite fun. I'd have to think that my June 31st tropical weather bulletin would be the best of them. By far my most notable blooper. Um, I don't think there's much else to say other than not only did I say it, not only did someone tell me that it wasn't June 31st and that the day didn't exist, and after that, I still released the damn thing. Like, you can still go and watch it.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's there. The thumbnail isn't like that anymore, but it's out there. In my future, I'll start within the project and then I'll go more in general. But within the project, my future, I'm hoping that I'll be a full member again at some point early to mid next year. It really depends on how active I'm going to be able to be, but I really hope to drive forward some big innovations within the project, especially on the US channel. There's some pretty major things that I've been working on alongside Xavier that I think next year people are going to like a lot. In regards to live coverage in particular, I think that our ability to assess and gauge the intensity of a tornado and tell you where it's going and what you need to do, I think those three things are going to be significantly better next year. And yeah, I mean that's the major thing that I'm working on over here. In general, I hope that I see myself in the Storm Prediction Center in Norman, Oklahoma in about 5 years, working there as a forecaster. And I hope that I'll still be around here and helping out over here as well. So I'm hoping that I can be one of the first certified meteorologists by the American Meteorological Society to be on the team. There are a couple of things that I like to do. The major one has to do with music. You can see beside me here this keyboard, which has been all too much fun in calls. But music is my big major hobby outside of doing weather-related stuff and Force 13 related stuff. And my other primary hobby is chess of all things. So I do play myself a fair bit of chess. I'm nowhere near as good as Devin and Kay, who I'm sure will mention chess in their interviews. But yeah, chess and music are the two major things.
Yes, so we're back in the studio here at Force 13 HQ on our 10th birthday. We didn't need a fire extinguisher, although it would have been quite an interesting prop to use, but we don't have many props here, sadly. Well, now on our schedule, some great interviews there, by the way, but now we're going to introduce our team, and we're going to talk about what was going on this year. More monthly summaries. Yesterday we did December to February, coming into this year, and today it's going to be March, April, and May. There are an enormous amount of people in the live discussion room right now. You can see them all there. A little bit chopped at the bottom row, so apologies to those people. But at the top there, I don't dictate who goes where. You've got Christian, Farhan, Thomas is there as well. We just saw him. Ethan, Army, Dakota, Farhan, Kay, Jonesy, Josh, who was also on the interview. Alfiria, I think, is there. If that is you, I think it was.
It is.
Yes. Sam and Samuel. 2 Sams with us right now. So loads of things going on, and it's great to see you all again, folks. We'll be able to have a proper chat about everything when we get to the Atlantic Hurricane Season countdown in an hour. Oh, by the way, I've got the slice of cake, so I'll be consuming that during this half hour. Well,
I have a singular
Please.
I'm really sorry.
No.
It can't be delivered, but maybe.
Nathan,
Yes, Thomas.
How could you eat cake without us?
Maybe when we get to 100,000 subscribers, I'll get everyone a cake. Hey?
You're gonna
Ooh.
You're
could,
just
we
gonna
could.
order. You're just gonna order a cake for all of us near the nearest grocery store we all live at, and then have it delivered to us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, good. Just get it from the store that I work at.
No, we just
That's
all
an
get it
easy
from
one for
Amazon.
Anyway, shall we get
Same
started?
day delivery.
Yes, I am getting started, Ethan.
Yeah, we left off with some of the storms that crossed over into March, but we didn't talk about the ones that formed in the early days of March.
All
So
right.
the
We
first-
left off at Miran stalling just offshore of Queensland. We left off at that. So I guess we could start with the later life of Miran.
Well, what's Thomas showing
Where
us?
did it in Iran? So the first 2 storms in March, you had Iman, which was briefly a tropical storm on the west side of Madagascar, downgraded
This
to
is
remnant
Havana.
low, became a tropical storm.
Ah.
Nobody cares about Iman, but the storm off to its east, that was a storm and I have to talk about, and I'll just play it over here in the animation, and
Yeah.
that was called Habana. It's
Iman
an
was
initial
where?
Oh yes.
Way out here in the open Indian Ocean. Really was a shocker because whenever it initially formed, not many people were expecting it to do what it actually did, and explosively intensified from I think 65 miles per hour to 145 miles an hour in 18 hours, which is very impressive for the Southwest Indian Ocean. Peaked
Oh, there's
around
Iman.
there.
Correctly,
Yes.
it had a closed eye wall on microwave before it was given a name
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it was so small that it was just went
that
under
was
the radar.
insane.
Peaked at 145 miles an hour initially, weakened, briefly became a Category 3 again, and then it weakened it back down to a Category 1, and then we thought that it was, going to be all done with, but then it pulled a 180 on us, rapidly intensified all the way back up into Category 5 intensity,
Oh.
probably peaking with winds of 165 miles per hour, weakened due to an hour replacement cycle, and then shortly after this, it's not shown in this animation, but there is a big debate of whether or not Habana regained Category 5 intensity. And these satellite imagery here that I have, you can see it weakening there. And then it really really started to get its act together very quickly here. Any moment now, there it goes.
Off it goes.
Rapidly intensifying there.
We had it
And
as the
right
Cat
about-
5 by our
Right about
analysis.
there's the Cat 5 peak.
Mm-hmm.
There's its hour replacement cycle, which really was pretty quick for an hour replacement cycle, and then it might have even regained Category 5 intensity, minimal Cat 5 though, and then it really went off a cliff after that as it moved post-tropical.
Yeah,
Well,
Ethan.
is it Cat
I do
5
want
right
to
now?
ask exactly what the argument for the secondary Cat 5 peak is, because that's something that I'm kind of curious about this storm, because I don't keep up so much with the Southern Hemisphere as much as I should.
On the satellite there, the second peak reminds me of Faraji's peak.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Havana
right here.
officially, both Mateo France and the JCWC never reached Cat 5 at all during its lifetime. I wasn't keeping track of a ban. That's why I was asking, what did we have by our analysis?
That is prior
165.
to
165.
We had one.
that is
Okay.
the JCWC's reanalysis, where they upgraded quite a few systems that were Cat 4 operationally.
Yeah.
Yes, it's quite likely that they will upgrade this to Cat 5 in the post-analysis, I think.
Yeah,
We
because
don't
right now
know.
they have it as a peak of 155 with a pressure of 938.
But this
939.
is a pretty extraordinary storm because it's not every day that you see a storm peak what, 4 or 5 times, something like that, in the
It
Southwest
was
Indian Ocean of all
also
things.
it moved so slowly that it just stayed in the same place over hot waters and was a major hurricane or major tropical cyclone for days on end. I think it got well over 40 accumulated cyclone energy.
Yeah, here's the Wikipedia track.
An ace
Pretty
hog.
sure it went over this.
And
Look
it
at
was
that.
Went over the
likely
same
a
waters
hurricane
as
much earlier than
Hawaii.
shown there.
Yes. And you can just see it jumped from a tropical storm to a Cat 4 here in 12 hours, which is ridiculous.
Well, it probably didn't actually do that, but
Yeah,
the eye was hidden.
Yeah.
The microwave didn't come in soon enough.
Remember
The
that
good
we
thing
saw
is-
the microwave and we knew the structure was significantly better than we thought it was, but by the time that had happened, it was too late to do anything operationally.
Yeah.
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 But after Habana, we had Saroja and
Oh, yeah.
Odette in early April. There were a
was an
few.
annoying one.
Roja,
Yes,
let me
Saroja
just
was
have
an
a
annoying
moment.
system.
Oh yes.
Annoying.
Let me just have a
Was it
moment
the
over
latest
Roja.
cyclone
Roja.
landfall in Western Australia ever?
Oh, I don't know
Yeah.
about that. But I mean, apart from its Australian impacts, the big story was its origins.
Yeah.
How
Yeah,
many,
so
how
as
many,
a
how many fatalities were
depression.
there up in India as a result of this storm? I think it's
Indonesia.
like
No, not
Indonesia.
India.
Indonesia.
It was Indonesia.
I do wanna-
Indonesia.
Good job.
I
You
do-
just offended.
And
Well
yeah, I
over
do want to
200.
point out as well.
Yeah,
when was, when was,
the
yeah, again, when was
low.
Roja? Was that April time?
yes,
I'm
this is
pretty
early
sure it's
April
Yeah.
now.
the deadliest storm
Yeah.
of the
Really?
year,
At the
wasn't
same
it?
at the same time as Saroja, Surigay.
Not yet.
Don't go there yet. It's too big
No,
to
Please don't
digest.
mention
no.
the cursed storm. Please
Fine.
don't mention Surigay.
Is
Oh,
this the
well,
deadliest
we are
storm of
gonna
the year, or
mention
is there
it.
a worse one?
Let me.
Of course,
Can I
we've
have
got to
a
mention
moment,
it,
please,
guys.
in Indonesian?
Well, but
Yeah, but
we're a
not
little
now.
early.
Going back to.
May I have a moment, please? May I have a
Sure.
moment?
Sure.
Talks about Saroja. Saroja is, in many ways, a very historical storm. It is the deadliest Australian region cyclone in the 21st century, and it is a wake-up call for the Indonesian public and the Indonesian meteorologists.
It is
Because of
internet
course,
die.
ever since 2017, there has been a heightened level of interest in tropical cyclone ever since Sampaka, which was the storm which got me into storm tracking. But it wasn't exactly significant. It was just small interest that's building and building. And I think Saroja is finally giving us the big jolt to realize that tropical cyclone is definitely something that could threaten us, and it's definitely a force of nature that is extremely destructive and deadly. And the good thing is, ever since Saroja, there are more Indonesian people talking about tropical cyclone on social media. BMKG has produced tropical cyclone specific graphics for their social media accounts, which they previously has not. And of course, it's unfortunate it has to take a storm like this, but I hope that it will be our. I don't want to equalize it with Katrina as such because it's nowhere near that level, but I hope it will be to that same level in terms of making people aware of how bad a storm, a tropical cyclone could be. And in fact, it's so bad that in some region in Flores, which is the island which the storm pretty much just stalled for about a week, several villages have to be completely relocated. And the latest update from late August is that 2 villages have to be relocated to higher ground to mitigate the risk of flooding and landslide. There is one village where they are rebuilding 700 houses, and another where they are rebuilding 300 houses. So hopefully the recovery effort can be done smoothly, and afterwards the people are more aware and are more ready to deal with any possible tropical cyclone that might impact the area, or even the rest of Indonesia, which I may remind you doesn't happen very often. It is a rare occurrence, and I guess it's understandable that people are caught off guard because it happens so rarely. Since we are so far up north, so close to the equator, that it is very hard for storm to move towards us while retaining tropical cyclone characteristics.
Now,
Yep.
now, Farhan, if you don't mind me asking, were most of the deaths in Indonesia, were most of those when Seroja was actually a fully fledged tropical cyclone, or was it before its tropical cyclone status?
The amount of time it spent sitting on the Nusa Tenggara regions is, I think, is equally divided between when it hasn't formed to when it has formed.
Okay.
So I think it's equal, although because there wasn't many people aware of the storm before it formed, because not many of us really follow weather news for the most part. I know most of my friend circle do not. I think in terms of pure percentages, I think it's probably gonna be more from before it formed, simply because
Okay.
not many people were aware of it.
Well,
Yeah,
after
but going off
after
of
this
what
one.
Farhan said, yeah, I remember that
This
hearing about Seroja, there was a lot of deaths from when it was still a tropical low, and then it basically decided to do a Fujiwara effect with Odette. So yeah,
Ethan.
and there was
Then-
also
Oh,
another
sorry.
tropical low at the time, but nobody cared about that.
Yes.
and then the next storm was the West Pacific decided to give us a wake up call. Christian, what was its name?
Ay. It was Surigay.
Philippine
I mean,
name, I'm probably gonna butcher this, but basing.
I think Bising.
Bising.
Bising?
Was its Philippines names.
Bising, yeah. I mean, again, I've got the animation up, screen share right now if you want to take a look. But obviously, it starts off as any other typical tropical storm, and then obviously it starts off as again your typical tropical storm. Then it just sort of kabooms right up to Category 5 status. And then obviously it pretty much parallels the Philippine coastline, and then just sort of curves up to the north. It was quite a storm to track, especially this early on in the year. Again, this is only...
the most memorable thing that I really remember about Surigay is during its cloud tops organization, because during its formation phase you can see it's blowing up these very high cloud tops during its initial intensification phase, and then it sort of undergoes an organization phase as its eye emerges, and then its CDO shape becomes very, very wonky, very unorganized, and it loses a lot of these. I believe these are -80s in the yellows, I hear.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then it eventually, all of a sudden, early on the 17th, boom! It just gets them all back. Look at this.
Yeah.
It just explodes, and then it eventually goes on towards its initial peak. Not every day that you see that all these cloud types just suddenly explode in height and intensity. Last one that I remember doing that was Cyclone Harold in the southern hemisphere, and
Yeah, I mean that's
was very
a rare
impressive.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I
that's-
could just speak on the storm briefly, the Sergei was it was a worrying sign for the Western Pacific season at the time.
Yes.
Luckily, we haven't really seen too many bad storms relative to a normal year. Don't get me wrong, we still had Chengdu. I believe Infa, storms like that, and it's not like the year hasn't been rough for some areas. But a storm like Surigay was an indicator that the Western Pacific was primed for extremely strong tropical cyclones throughout the year. And I think that we can all count ourselves lucky that we didn't have as many as we could have.
Yeah.
Yes, and let's not forget the JTWC. Really, regardless of who you go off of, this is the strongest Northern Hemisphere tropical cyclone before May, with the JTWC officially giving the storm winds of 190 miles per hour, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Our analysis is a little bit lower at 185. I'd be inclined to agree with that estimate.
Yeah. 185,
certainly
895 to be
strong.
Specific.
Very,
Very
very
strong.
strong.
Yeah,
Is that
regardless
still,
of
is that still our operational number?
And post, yes.
Yeah.
Of course, some fine tuning might be coming up before our West Pacific animation comes out, but certainly a very strong storm.
I
Then-
remember with Sergey, just to cut in real quick before we move on. I remember, like, I went to sleep because it was still as a tropical storm, or it just became a typhoon just north of Palau, and then I woke up and we had a Cat 5. I'm like, oh, well, that's just great. But yeah,
Cat
Sergey
5.
really was a wake-up call and surprised everybody.
And then, as during Surigay, you had Tropical Storm 28P, which was slop. Nobody cares about that one. But then we had our final Southern Hemisphere tropical cyclone, Jobo, which was very likely
yes.
a tropical cyclone a day, if not more, than before the officials picked up on it, which was very impressive. And system.
And then I just remember with the storm update I made on Jobo. Ah, yes, the opening line.
I can remember that too.
What was
Yeah.
it?
Jobo continues its bizarre adventure across the Southwest Indian Ocean.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
as an
my
anime
God.
fan, that makes me that statement right there just made me die a little bit on the inside.
I can
Hey,
see why.
I'm not even an anime fan, Alfuria, yet I knew about.
That makes it even worse.
JoJo is such a massive thing in gaming that I know all about it, even though I've never watched it.
Yeah.
I just like music, but back on topic about this storm.
Yes, back to
that was
tropical
my
Jobo the Storm, I think, is an example of what could happen when you have a small system, because it organizes and intensifies quickly, but then it collapses and dies very quickly as well. That's what you get with small system. It is very susceptible to extremely minutiae amount of environmental condition. If it's just slightly favorable, it will be able to organize and intensify. If it's become even slightly unfavorable, it will just collapse and die. And so, if anyone want an example of how much of a fragile thing small tropical cyclone could be, look no further.
Well, sort of during Jobo, we also had Patira, I think that's how you say it, in the South Atlantic.
Patira.
Oh god.
Which was barely anything at all, but
another slop that could not
then
have
we
been
closed.
named.
Then we closed out April, and then May opened up on a very good note, with the earliest named tropical storm in the Eastern Pacific.
Oh, of course, Ethan's happy. Yes.
Like 12 hours, beating the
Of
record
course you're
set in
happy. That thing was
2017.
just slop.
Just so you
Andrew.
know, this is not anything notable to anyone else but you.
Yes,
I mean,
exactly.
it is a bit. It's the earliest tropical storm, and the previous record was 2017. So I was looking at this going, why are we already getting 2017 references?
That wasn't the only parallel we would get, considering the Northern Hemisphere going
Oh,
on
not
in
at
both
all.
the Atlantic
2017
or
was one
the
of the top 10 analogs at this point.
yeah, for both. Was it for both
We're
Eastpac
not
and
on that yet.
Atlantic?
Peaks
Okay.
with winds of 40 miles per hour, a minimal tropical storm.
A truly
then-
incredible piece of nature.
Yes. And then right after that, we had tropical storm or depression.
Anna.
whatever you wanna call it. No, it was actually 3W,
Oh.
which briefly hit the Philippines as a weak tropical storm. Didn't really do anything else. Then we had a major blow to India.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Saw this coming. That was Tauktae.
Tautei.
Tautei.
Yeah.
Thank
Tautei.
Yeah. Tautei
Peaks
was
as a peaked as a Category 4 2 times. Once was at its landfall in India, briefly.
We did extensive coverage.
Yeah,
We
so
did
Talte,
indeed.
that was
Quite a few people going to
so
score it afterwards.
Talte was actually my first storm that I was on coverage for the main channel. I know I did coverage for Saroja for the AU channel, so that was for them. But Talte was the first time that I appeared on the main channel, and that was just a very very impressive storm, and also a very dangerous storm for the part of India that it hit.
Now, what does our analysis have this at? GTWC have 130 miles per hour, I think.
I think we
And
also
just-
have it at 130.
No,
I'm not sure.
GTWC actually have 140, actually.
Oh,
Oh.
So
I'm not sure. I think
I think it's around there, I think.
we either went 130 or 140. I forget.
Either way, Cap.
probably 130.
Yeah,
Then-
and
I
Then
know though. Looking at that.
Then finally, you guys can
Anna.
have your fun, Anna.
okay, can I explain Anna if that's all right with everyone here?
Yes,
Yeah,
the second honor of the 2021 season, actually.
I'm not
Okay,
going to talk about Anna because
so-
Anna sucks.
Okay, here's the deal with this. More likely than not, this will be the final time we will have a preseason record, the preseason record go on, because NOAA has officially adjusted the start of hurricane season to be May 15th from next year onward. Anna formed from a potent extratropical cyclone, and basically it doesn't deserve to exist other than the fact that it made everyone really mad when it formed, because it would just literally just continue that record of preseason storms. Like I said, it's very unlikely that we're going to see that be broken next year unless Karma really hates me. Because NOAA has changed their guidelines and hurricane season will officially start next year on May 15th.
So they've done that now, have they?
Well,
Didn't really do
it
that
didn't become a
much.
tropical storm, but it was a subtropical storm when it formed, and it was like it was the first I believe 3 or 4 subtropical storms in the season. But yeah, Anna was just like Andres. It was slop. It was even more slop than Andres was.
Just to clarify, the official start is still June 1st, but they're starting tropical outlooks on June 15th. Just to clarify.
Okay.
That's more
Okay.
because they need to go to the World Meteorological Organization to officially change the start dates, and that
Yeah, I
takes
didn't-
several years.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought that.
And then the next.
Okay.
I'll just
I misremembered
I'll
things. I'm
just-
sorry about that.
Can I make one comment before we move on?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Ethan, I completely agree that Anna sucks, and I think that Andre sucks more.
Yep, I agree with that.
Excuse me.
Yep, completely agree with that.
Yes.
No.
Same
yeah.
time as Anna, India was getting hit yet again, but this time on the eastern side with Yas.
Yas
It's interesting.
Yas was
Yas was-
huge.
It was not exactly the most organized thing. It took, because it was so huge, it took quite a while to intensify, much slower than people think. And I'd just like to point out how interesting it is that in terms of storm dynamics, we observe a reversal from 2020. In 2020, we have a major cyclone in the Bay of Bengal and a Category 1 in the Arabian Sea. This year, we have a major cyclone in the Arabian Sea and a Category 1 cyclone in the Bay of Bengal to start the season. It's probably just a coincidence, but I found it interesting how it's pretty much a complete reversal from year to year like that.
Yeah.
Very
I
interesting.
mean, yeah,
I do think that I can say this for both storms is that, especially looking at the environments they were in, especially, I wanted to say this during Taute, but didn't really have the chance to speak there, is that in both situations with Yas and specifically Taute, is that it could have been far, far worse, and that is exactly what I remember during the live coverage, is that we were looking at something far worse than what actually ended up happening, which is a good thing, but still, that just kind of shows exactly how much potential these storms had, especially in April going into May.
Then right after.
and before we continue, and based on what Farhan was saying about how we started this year in the North Indian with a major, we actually ended last season as well with a major. I believe, if nothing formed after Gati, and then we started this season with Talte being a major.
Certainly seems that way, but right after Yas, just kind of directly after it, we had Choi Wan. which was a huge disappointment. Could have been something, ended up being nothing.
Well, it's your
Sort of.
typical tropical
that
storm
way.
slump.
Good for the Philippines.
Yeah.
It's good for the Philippines because
I mean, you can see on the satellite imagery here, peaked as a tropical storm just before it moved into the Philippines.
Mhm.
Sort of limped along as it passed through the Philippines. You can see the low pressure there making landfall on that easternmost island. I forget what it's called. I'm sure someone will correct me there.
Samar, we're looking at.
Yes. Moved through the Philippines as a tropical depression, briefly regained tropical storm intensity to the west of Luzon, and then eventually passed to the east of Taiwan again as a tropical depression. It's somewhere in there, still a tropical cyclone.
Yeah, right.
Briefly regained tropical storm status right there before turning post-tropical.
I don't know about that.
I don't
Taiwan.
even know what
Yeah.
this storm
Yeah.
is. I don't even
That's
know
what
where
the
its center's
GWC haven't
located.
asked. It
The
was
thing
a
about
mess.
Taiwan, you say it's disappointing, but as Thomas said, it was good for the Philippines, and I agree, especially because the area that it came in was close to Tacloban, which is where Haiyan came in, and that was 8 years ago. But I don't know how much they've recovered since. They've probably recovered, a decent amount, but still, there's probably areas that haven't recovered since then. So it's definitely good that Choiwan was only, just a weak tropical storm and wasn't anything worse.
Yeah,
Then, right after Choi Wan, go ahead.
Jonesy, to kind of add on to your point, downtown Tacloban and that surrounding area has basically fully recovered with aid from the U.S. government and the Philippine government. All the smaller villages and those areas around Tacloban that got hit the hardest have not recovered, and they've just been wiped off the map entirely. So
Yeah, that's why it's definitely good that Choiwan was only a weak tropical storm and wasn't anything worse than that. But yeah, after Choiwan, what did we have next, Ethan?
We had Tropical Storm Blanca in the East Pac. Didn't really do anything.
Another slump. Another
Throughout the
slump.
state, throughout the
So
state.
memorable
Then,
that I can't remember it.
right after this, we had Tropical Storm Kaguma in the West Pac. Struck Vietnam, I think.
But to be
Very
fair, I can't.
shortly.
To be
Very,
fair, I
very
can't remember
short-lived.
most storms from this year anymore.
Very short-lived. Was only a tropical storm for 6 hours.
Hmm.
It was very
June,
very
no?
monsoonal.
Yeah.
Caused officially 1 fatality in Vietnam or Hainan Island.
So they would have dumped a lot of rain with cloud tops like that.
Yes,
And-
it would have.
Yeah.
And then
right
after
after
Kaguma,
this, we had Carlos.
Pardon?
Or,
It's
this is your basin,
Carlos.
Ethan. You should know.
Same
Carlos.
Ethan was just thinking about my blooper from 2017 when I accidentally called it cow loss.
Oh dear.
Ow, loss.
The Carlos that happened in the Southwest Indian Ocean.
There's Carlos there.
yeah,
Then
so
we
Carlos
had-
and Kaguma were at the same time. Kaguma decided to dissipate, and then during Carlos, we had the Atlantic wake up and give us Bill.
Born off North
Bill
Carolina
existed.
Outer Banks,
That's
moved
it.
east
Bill.
and dissipated. Nobody cares about Bill.
Oh, yeah.
And then
The
there's
next-
Is about Carlos.
the next storm-
Alright, the science guy.
The next storm after Bill, though, was much more notable, and that was
Yeah.
That's it?
Dolores. Officially, Dolores is a 70-mile-per-hour tropical storm,
We have
but
it
there
as
is
a hurricane, don't we?
grounds. Yes, there is
hurricane.
grounds to call this as a hurricane at landfall there, right there,
Hi.
in Mexico.
Yep, I remember covering that.
Yeah,
Meanwhile, while Dolores was happening, we had a pain in the butt over in the Atlantic known as Claudette.
Oh.
Okay. I feel like as the certified #1 Claudette hater here, I have every right to complain about this. So this wants to be... Claudette started out as a very, very potent area of interest.
Now this
we
one,
knew
this
it was
one, I
going
just
to
want to
form.
point out, this one happened when I was away, so I didn't even look at this storm at all because
Yeah,
I just
you
got
should
back.
be
When I came home and got
Yeah.
back to work, I hadn't even. I've still not analysed this storm on a personal level.
You
Okay,
will see
so-
some stark
Something-
similarities to another storm.
Something to note about this storm. It became a tropical storm twice over land.
Yeah.
And that's why I hate it.
Right upon naming, it was a tropical storm. Right about there.
Not
where the
great,
center was,
but
It was
over land.
better than colon, Thomas.
Land.
Yes. And then
Okay.
it became a tropical storm whenever it was over the Carolinas. I think right about here was when it became a tropical
Yeah.
storm.
Yeah,
better,
it
but
was
it's not much
it was
better.
slightly north of Raleigh. The thing about Claudette is that when it was first invested, which was about a week before it actually got named, is that we all were expecting it to form rather quickly because it had the conditions to develop, and then it just kind of didn't. And then Bill formed before, because we thought this was going to be Bill, and then Bill formed off the East Coast.
So you're
And so
saying
it-
that it sounded like an emergency exercise storm?
Yes!
Yes.
It's
Yes,
the exact definition of an emergency management storm, and that's why it's terrible. So it decides to be a lovely little potential tropical cyclone 3 for about 3 days, goes in, is named Tropical Storm Claudette over a Walmart, which has no significance to this, but I just feel like it's a fun fact to little mention right there.
Oh,
It
yes.
zooms up the East Coast, becomes a tropical storm again over the Carolinas, which, by the way, this is not the first time this season. This is not the last time this season in the Atlantic where we have a storm that intensifies over land. And then it zooms off the
Brown
East
ocean
Coast.
effect?
All right, keep your
It
hair on.
wasn't. It wasn't
Claudette
brown
was a
ocean
storm.
effect. It was
When you gave
interactions with a jet stream.
Claudette
Who
was
was the one
a
who
storm.
gave this nickname? Who was the one who gave this nickname Tropical Storm Walmart?
That was me.
Of
So
course
it's
it was you.
Yeah, one final point on this storm. It technically did, after being named, it was named over land. Technically, it did go over water again just briefly, but that was Lake Pontchartrain, and that was its only landfall, but that depends on if you want to count a Lake Pontchartrain landfall as a landfall or not.
So we're actually running out of time quickly here, so I'll go over the last few systems real quickly here. We had Champy, which was briefly a typhoon near the Mariana Islands. You had Enrique, could have been something big, but it wasn't. It was only a 90-mile-per-hour hurricane passed near the coast of Mexico. Danny, which was a surprise formation, moved west and struck, I believe it was South Carolina. And then you also had, believe it or not, by our analysis, Hurricane Rayoni in the South
man.
Atlantic.
Yes.
Oh, was that in June?
Yeah. Subtropical, by the way, I think, is what we have it as well.
Tropical.
We have it
The
as.
animation last
I
night,
thought
it didn't-
operationally. Never mind.
Well, operationally,
I mean-
we went hurricane, but in the animation last night, I did not see the hurricane icon.
I mean, Rayoni was a really impressive storm for South Atlantic. I highly doubt we're going to see anything like that anytime soon or in the near future.
Yeah,
Would
I
know.
agree with that.
And then the
Yeah.
next month had a beautiful hurricane in the East Pac. But we'll
Yeah,
save
but
that
that's for
We'll save that for
tomorrow.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's for
You will
tomorrow.
talk all
Yes,
about it
Ethan.
tomorrow.
No
Ethan.
more
You will
East
talk
Pack, thank
tomorrow.
you.
Go
We'll talk
away.
about Felicia tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right,
but-
we're now gonna throw on the Super Cyclone Challenge, episode 2, day 2. That's gonna be a lot of fun. We're back with the team at half past the hour, or half an hour from now, because we've run slightly over. And then we're counting down to the end of hurricane season, and that's great. And then just after midnight UTC, I'll have an announcement. All right then, now
Oh.
to the Super Cyclone Challenge. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Super Cyclone Challenge, this week on Force 13's 10th anniversary week, Force 13 week. We've got a lot going on. The second of 7 Super Cyclone challenges. The first, the weekday evening shows, 30 minutes of solo games. And then over the weekend, we've got the charity all-in game on Saturday and an actual all-in game on Sunday. My name is Nathan Foy, and joining me today in the hot seat is none other than Rishi. For the first time, hello. We're doing fine. Sorry, just had you on mute there for a moment. Nice to see you in your alternate form.
Well, I do enjoy being a little more fun at times. So hopefully this is a bit of a change of pace from all the grainy video quality.
That's a very fair point, actually. So Rishi, did we had you on standby, didn't we? And then, did you have much motivation for taking part today? Testing your knowledge.
I'm honestly very curious to see how far I can push my thought process, really, because I am fairly familiar with the storms of the North Atlantic and East Pacific specifically, but I am very curious to see just how much I've learned by being a part of Force 13 for the past year.
Very good test indeed. And of
Well,
course,
this will be a pretty big test, and I'm a little worried here.
Your little face there, that was funny. And of course, during Force 13 week, we've got real cash prizes. Your mile per hour will be converted to US dollars wherever you end up with today. And if you were to get to the end of question 24, you would win the jackpot of $500. It's a lot of money because we're pretty sure that no one will get there.
$500 would be a nice little investment toward a new VR system, so I don't have to stick on the Quest. So that's my motivation in this game.
Very interesting. Well, realistically though, Rishi, how far do you think you're gonna get?
I'm hoping to get to Major Hurricane at least. Once I get to Cat 3, I think at that point I'll probably not be able to get too much further. Do I think I'll be able to do better than Ethan? Realistically, I'm not sure, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Well, that's what you're aiming for, to be at least as good as Ethan. So, like in all of our games, we've got our 24 questions, and of course you begin with the 4 lifelines. But there's the 24 questions going by on list B questions today. Safe zones at 40 miles per hour, 75, 115, 150 and 180. You'll have the 4 lifelines to begin with, half time, which moves on to the next question, but halves the time limits. A bit of a hard option there. A 50-50, flip the question, and the dreaded risk lifeline, a nuclear option. If you get the first 5 questions right in a row, then you will get awarded the 5th lifeline, which is the double dip. Alright, Rishi, you saw Ethan's game then. You think you're ready?
As ready as I'll ever be.
Alright then, here we go. A little bit more confident at my end as well, because I've already done this once, so hopefully we won't get as many glitches and mistakes this time around on a technical level. Which, you know, is never helpful for people like Rishi who are trying to play the game and I just have to balls up with technical issues. But let's begin with the first question for 20 miles per hour. Force 13 is celebrating how many years this week? Is it 5, 10, 50 or 100?
I'm gonna have to go with the 10 years final answer.
I mean, I'd be doing something very awful if you got that one wrong. It's the right answer.
At least I formed.
Yes. It'd be a massive communication fail if I didn't manage to convince you that it was 10 years.
I would just have to resign immediately and never show my face again.
Alright, let me just get this sorted out. It gets quicker after the first questions go by. Here's the next question for 30 miles per hour. The loop current is an ocean current located in which water body? The Caribbean Sea, Gulf of Carpentaria, Gulf of Mexico, or Black Sea?
That one I'm going to have to go with the Gulf of Mexico. And that will be my final answer.
That is the right answer for 30 miles per hour.
Doing good so far.
This is going to be one of the most animated, maybe literally, most animated game show performances.
I mean, I definitely have a higher chance of having technical issues than you do. So.
What kind of technical glitches?
I mean, my entire computer could crash.
Oh, right. Well, that is potentially a big issue. Here we go then with the next question for 35 miles per hour. Shouldn't be a problem. What was the first named storm of the 2021 Atlantic hurricane season? Was it Andrea, Anna, Alex, or Arlene?
Well, oh boy. All right, exhaustion's starting to hit. All right. Crap.
5 seconds.
Need.
Andrea,
Okay.
Alex, Arlene.
I do this for 50-50.
50-50. All right, the timer ended there, but we just had enough time. We'll go with the 50-50. Rishi, that means you've got like 0 seconds to tell me, but we'll
Yeah, as soon as I have a feeling I know the answer. I need to confirm it.
All right, Rishi, you're gonna have to be extremely quick on this. You ready? It's
Oh, boy.
either Andrea or Anna. Go.
Anna, final answer.
We'll let you have it. We'll let you have it. But was it the right answer? Yes, it was. Anna.
Okay, thank God. Thank God. Thank God. All right. So to everyone at home, bear in mind it is 8 a.m. I woke up at 7:30.
But to be honest, it was a long time ago now. The start of this year.
It was it certainly was a long season, to be sure. Not as long as last year, but definitely a long one.
Man, showing how exhausted you were there. All right, and some people might say that I shouldn't have let you, but I think Rishi is fine. We'll go with the next question. Then this will get you the tropical storm status. You can't get the 5th lifeline now. Oh no.
I know, but I think I'll be okay. Like I said, major hurricane is all I'm aiming for.
Here we go then. Which Force 13 production airs every night during hurricane season? Is it Tropical Weather Outlook, Tropical Weather Update, Tropical Weather Bulletin, or Tropical Weather Bullcrap?
Well, I was just going to say TWB, but then that could go for bullcrap as well, so I have to say the full name, Tropical Weather Bulletin, final answer.
Yes, we're on track. Are you calling it Rishi or something else?
Well, I don't know. I think that'd be a pretty damn cool name, not gonna lie, so I think I'll stick with it.
Good point. I just like watching Rishi's VR version. I just think it's ace. Next question for 50 miles per hour. Here we go. What was the strongest storm of the 2010 Atlantic hurricane season? Was it Alex, O, Igor, or Tomas?
Oh boy, 2010. Was Igor that season?
Gotta tell you.
Because I know out of all those, Igor was the strongest. So I'm gonna have to say Igor.
Why not?
And I'll make that my final.
Do you think it's right?
I pray.
It's so cute when those ears go down. It's the right answer. Yes.
Woo! Okay.
Have a heart attack.
Okay.
Right?
Well, I have heart. Nope, still beating. We're good.
I mean, you're worrying me. 3 lifelines, and we're at 50 miles per hour.
When I can be this animated, I'm sure it makes my emotions a little bit more exaggerated than they actually are.
All right, here's next question for 60. Here it is. The Philippine Area of Responsibility's easternmost limit is at what longitude? 125 east, 135 east, 145 east, or 155 east?
Let's see. Storms have to get pretty far away from the dateline to enter the Philippines area. AOR. It's definitely it's not too far away though. I mean, I'll go with
10 seconds.
I think I'll go with 155.
Final answer? 3, 2,
I think I will make that final.
155. Do you think it's right?
I hope.
Rishi? He's yes.
I have a feeling I did not get that right.
That is the wrong answer,
Ah.
Rishi.
Damn.
Oh no.
Oh. Damn it.
That was a pretty tough question for the level. The correct answer was 135 east.
Gee, I did not think it'd be that far, to be honest. Wow. Damn. Storms have moved pretty damn far to really get into the Philippines AOR, huh?
Yes, they do. Rishi, I'm really sorry. I think you had a hell of a game there, and it wasn't really your fault in some
Hey,
regards.
listen. I mean, even though I have lost, I am a little disappointed at just how short I was of the end goal. I still did better than Schwent that one game, so I'll count that as a win.
Well,
oh, geez, that was really big. There we go.
You've done the same as Schwent. You've finished up with 40 miles per hour.
Oh. Well, I got to be a name. I got to be a name.
And that, of course, translates to $40, Rishi.
Well, hey, that's a few t-shirts.
That is a few Force 13 t-shirts. Where have they gone? Well, thank you, Rishi, for playing. And now we'll move on to our next contestant. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Good luck to the next person.
Welcome back to the Super Cyclone Challenge, and once again we have another contestant who is in for the hot seat, looking to get up and up the mile per hour tree and possibly win some significant prize amount. Of course, as we've mentioned during Force 13 week, very special week, your miles per hour that you end with will be converted into US dollars. My name is Nathan Foy once again, and I am joined right now by Farhan.
Hello, are you guys ready to see me get embarrassed? Because I'm not.
Well, I'm not sure if you're going to get embarrassed. I know you've got very limited expectations. You're bright and colourful today, though.
Yeah, I decided that I want to go in something memorable. If I do great, I will be remembered as the Americans would call it some swag. And if I crash and burn, I will be remembered as a sham for wearing this. Pretty ugly.
Ugly.
Frankenstein picture.
Well, fair enough. All right. We've played before, haven't we? Did we?
No.
You've not played before.
Format, no. This is the first time doing this format.
In the singles format.
Yeah.
All right then. So, do you have any expectations on how far you think you're gonna get tonight? Doesn't sound like.
No. To be honest, as long as I get the tropical, anything from there is just bonus. I don't want to get so low that I don't even become a team. That's pretty much all.
Well, let's hope you do get the tropical storm status. As always, the rules: 24 questions will get you from the bottom right to the top. If you do get all 24 questions correct, somehow you will get the grand prize, which is $500. That would be quite remarkable. But I don't think that's going to happen, and that's why we've set it that high. of course, we've got those questions and the lifelines. You begin with the half-time lifeline, where you halve the time limits for the next questions, although you advance to the next question in the process. The 50-50, flip the question, or the risk lifeline, the dreaded risk. And if you get the first 5 questions answered correctly without using a lifeline, then you will be given awarded the 5th lifeline, which is the double dip. We begin with 20 miles per hour in phase 1. The safe zones are at 40 miles per hour, 75, 115, 150, and 180. Are you ready to play, Farhan?
Oh boy, right then. Here goes nothing.
Here goes nothing. All right then, let's start with question number 1. You really should get this one right. Let's hope so. Hurricane Isabel reached which Saffir-Simpson category? Was it 1, 3, 4, or 5?
The storm that is known as the eye candy. It reached category 5.
Eye candy indeed. That is the right answer.
Right.
See, it's not hard at all.
We're on to question 1. Come on.
I had to say something. Let me just get things ready here. People will know that I've got to press all the buttons myself. Here's the next question then for 30 miles an hour. What was the first major hurricane of the 2020 Atlantic hurricane season? Was it Laura, Ida, Eta, or Iota?
I was there, right there. And the answer is Laura.
Laura, final answer. That's the right answer. 30 miles an hour. So they will get a little bit harder eventually, but so far it's a very bright start. Hey, believe it or not, Farhan, Rishi used a lifeline in the first round before getting to tropical storm status. Let's hope you don't have to do that.
Depending on the next 2 questions, I might have.
This is for 35. How often are Atlantic names reused? Is it 3 years, 5 years, 6 years, or 8 years?
There are 6 lists in total in the Atlantic, which means they rotate every 6 years. So the answer is 6 years.
6 years indeed. That's the right answer. Perfect. Perfect start. And now we are just 1 question away from getting to tropical storm status. Once I configure all my questions again. I'm sure you're feeling well so far. Breaking in nicely.
Yes, so.
Here is the question that separates you from tropical storm status. The name Gaston features on the naming list for which upcoming hurricane season? Is it 2022, 2023, 2024, or 2025?
I have no clue right now. I really use I can't.
Okay, 6 seconds. Which lifeline would you like to use?
Guess the safest a lot.
Sorry?
Well, I'm not gonna use half. I don't want my. I guess the safest one to use is 50-50.
The 50-50 lifeline. Okay. I can tell you, and the time will start as soon as I tell you, 6 seconds, so you'll have to be quick. It's either 2022 or 2023.
What are you doing, by the way?
Alright, final answer with 3 seconds to go. 2022. That is the right answer. Yes. Unfortunately,
ready.
Fortunately, you don't get the 5th lifeline anymore. But you're at 40 miles per hour, so that's guaranteed.
Well, I really don't know the answer to that question, so I have to.
Yep, well, the last time Gaston was used, it was 2016, so off it goes again in 2022. We look forward to it.
Well, Marcel will be happy.
Absolutely. We'll all be the memes will be flowing when that happens. Here's question number 5 for 50 miles per hour then. Which 2016 typhoon peaked on Christmas Day? Was it Moranti, Nipatak, Nocten, or Haima?
I've talked about this quite a lot for streams that it is not 10.
Final answer. Okay, he's gone for Nocten, and I can tell you that is the right answer. Yes. 50 miles per hour. Which is the same point. You're at the same point now that Rishi got to.
Oh, I only got to this? You kidding me? Wow. I'm surprised. I'm genuinely surprised.
Yeah, you thought he was going to do really well, didn't you?
Yes, I thought he'd do it well. I mean, he's not the most knowledgeable person, but I thought he was at least well versed enough for someone who's been here for a while and participating in more than one. So I didn't expect him to do that badly. Shock.
I think he was a bit unlucky. Looks like we're struggling with your signal just at the moment. Okay, we've got it back now. I think you'll have to have the microphone pretty close as well because it seems to be in and out. Maybe not that close, but here's the next question for 60 miles per hour. In 2012, Hurricane Isaac made landfall in which US state? Is it Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, or Louisiana?
I will go out on a limb and say Mississippi.
Final answer. 13 seconds left on the clock. Do you think it's right?
It's either Alabama or Louisiana. And because I do not remember Louisiana being hit by a 3.1, I decided to go in the middle. But now that I'm thinking about it, I'm probably got it wrong, don't I?
Farhan.
I know where it's going.
You've picked the wrong answer.
Yeah.
It was Louisiana.
Are you? Oh, well, crap. Oh well, one step further. One step further.
No, it was the same question. Point.
Huh? What? Are you kidding me? Well, on tonight's podcast, ladies and gentlemen, two contestants failing on the same question on the same stage.
Oh my goodness. I'm really sorry, Farhan. That's how it goes. But you have won $40 with the 40 miles per hour. So congratulations on that at least.
Yay! It was what I wanted.
It was indeed.
Mission accomplished.
So basically, we've had a game where Rishi got stuck on his first Pacific question and Farhan got stuck on his first Atlantic question of any difficulty. Yes.
Wow. It is what it is.
All right, well, thank you very much for playing. We'll be back again tomorrow with another episode of the Super Cyclone Challenge. Not so super today. But
well, whoever's on next, I hope you get harder than both of us.
Yeah, but thank you very much for playing, Farhan, and I'm sure we'll see you again soon. We'll see you tomorrow on the Super Cyclone Challenge.
Thank you too.
So that was the Super Cyclone Challenge, crossing back to the Force 13 studio live. That was certainly a very interesting one. 2 what people might call failures. We're about to find out what the team think of all that as we count down to the end of Atlantic Hurricane season. And then, at the end of the hour, we'll have a big announcement to make.
Say this though first. They still beat Schwent, at least.
They beat Schwent.
They beat
But
Schwent.
they
Okay,
didn't.
you
Yeah,
say-
that's great.
That's not true.
Yeah, that's great.
Hold
and all,
on a
but,
minute.
like,
They did not beat
Well,
Schwent. They got the
no,
same
it's the
as
same
Schwent.
score. The same score in the end.
Schwent got further in, I think, or I think was he on 60 miles per hour as well, and he failed.
I might have been on 60.
So
I told you. I specifically told that my strategy is Southern Hemisphere. I'm just lucky that the two Atlantic question before it was one, a storm that is discussed to that in the Cyclone History channel of our Discord server, and two, a storm that I was physically right there to track and see unfold. I was just lucky with those two, and I really have no idea when it comes to storms like Isaac and stuff. Like I know Sandy from as well, but that's it. So I have that excuse going for me, all right?
well, at least
Yeah,
your microphone's better now.
Here,
yeah, and I think
stayed underwater.
I
yeah,
also
but I
see
will.
one of my opponents has also joined the call.
Now, before we go any further, we need to talk about what was going on during that Super Cyclone Challenge in the chat section on our live stream. Because I did notice that.
Can
I'd just like to point out that I have not been using the Force 13 account at all, and it's probably Nelson who's probably taken the 10th birthday a bit too literally and is now basically behaving like a 10-year-old with the Force 13 account. So,
Is Nelson on
and we have it.
Nathan, that's giving him too much credit. He's acting like a
He's in the
15-year-old.
live chat.
I removed a couple of messages from the main account using the main account, and following that, Nelson posts #BAMK, and suddenly the messages stop. So, draw your own conclusions.
I will say this, Kay. Thank you for saving me $10 that I was gonna spend telling Nelson to shut up, or I would spend more money. So, thank you.
Strike for Nelson. Outrageous behavior.
Certainly is.
Also, a strike for Rishi for being.
It was fun, but it was amazing when Rishi's little ears going up and down. That was quite.
It was adorable.
Yeah,
adorable.
I might get one of those, and then I might start appearing on camera too.
Yes.
Also in the chat was saying how somebody's joke made some Diet Coke just come out of his nose. So I just want to make sure that Nelson's okay.
Oh no.
Okay, we have to mention something real quick.
Oh, how convenient, Xavier. How convenient.
That better be a Diet Coke can and not some other can.
We have to mention something real quick. Tropical storm Niato is looking like it might be a typhoon.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but
I don't think it's a typhoon yet, but it's starting to move in that direction quite quickly.
It's currently
Big chunker.
As of 18 UTC on ATCF at 60 miles per hour with a pressure of 990 millibars. We could actually get out some
stronger than
analysis tools.
It's stronger than that right now.
I'll get out some
yes,
analysis
that was
tools.
5 hours ago, Ethan.
In our opinion, we believe it is stronger.
There's also 92S, which someone put the ATCF on, and that's at 35.
Yeah, 92S has been overridden to 40 miles an hour as of 18Z, and that might suggest that they'll be naming it, or rather designating it, the JTWC at the top of this hour, whenever it updates.
It's good you say designating, because I don't think Jakarta or Bom will name it. Because I said last night, because of their stupid old
Bureau
requirement.
of Meteorology has it 0%. And yet the JTWC has
Well, that is 24 hours ago, though.
Invest.
Well, wait, is it? It's in the Australian. Yeah, they're not naming it because of the stupid rules.
Okay, yeah, this is right now. If I had to pin an intensity on this, I'd put it at 70 miles an hour. Myself,
The
60
Naito.
knots. Yeah, Naito.
Yeah.
I'd put it at 60 knots right now. But that's just me. We'll see what gets run with here. Actually, at the end of the hurricane season countdown, we'll get
Speak
shortly
of the
after
devil,
that new information.
JTWC has issued a tropical cyclone formation alert for 92S. Hot off the
Wow.
Not surprised.
Hot off the press. What time?
Are they watching our stream?
Are they? What? Yeah.
Yeah, there it is.
Out to the
Yeah, they are.
JTWC.
They're definitely
Well,
watching our
with
stream.
respect, I think they're a bit.
Sniping us.
With
Why are they
respect, I
sniping
think they're a
us?
bit late. I'd have issued a TCFA at 12C.
It's been a tropical storm probably since then, Nathan, to be honest.
Don't mind me just telling you.
Well, we'll see what happens in the reanalysis.
It's hard to tell whether it's got whether it's closed, unless you had ASCAT earlier. I didn't see any.
We had microwave earlier that seemed to suggest it was closed.
I still think there might be a question mark over whether it's
Logic.
closed or not, but
There
it's
is a
certainly
question
got
mark, but it's definitely
convection.
nearly there.
Oh yes.
Nearly.
But Kay, this is a quick spin up. It's expected to be at least, and looking at satellites, hard to tell right now. But it could easily fizzle out over the next 12 hours.
Or is it going to hit unfavourable conditions anytime soon?
I don't know. I didn't look that far. I
Right.
just had a quick look at the model, and it just spins up, and after 12 hours goes again.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness. I just realised in 25 minutes I can open my advent calendar.
Yay! So can I.
Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
but it's been Christmas season since November 1st, says Mariah Carey.
No.
Yes, Alfieri, but over here,
No
you've heard of an
way.
advent calendar, right?
All we want for
Yes,
Christmas.
I know what an advent calendar is, and I had one when I was like 9, except for each day you opened up, it had like a piece of chocolate in there or something.
Yes,
I
Kay's
actually
still
didn't
Yes,
9.
that is what an advent calendar is. Yes, but they start on December 1st, and yes, they do have chocolate in them.
Nathan.
Yes.
It's a family
Yeah.
tradition. Everyone in our house has an advent calendar, even my parents.
No, it's true.
I
That's true.
don't.
I mean, I'll be opening nappy guns tomorrow.
No,
so-
Ethan, difference is that Kay is British and we are American, so that might
Yeah.
be.
Yes,
I have
Americans
an
are
calendar
better.
right
we
over
have
here.
actual proper
Here,
chocolate,
one-
unlike Hershey's.
Strike for Schwent.
Okay.
Yeah, our
Yeah,
chocolate's
I-
Kay, though our chocolate is becoming Americanized slowly but surely.
No.
I would like to
It
put
is.
some information out there because I know there were some questions about the environment that 92S is going to be in. So just very briefly, just so you know, the storm is going to be in 28 to 29 degrees Celsius SSTs, not going to be a problem. Moisture is going to be sufficient with over 60% relative humidity with the air mass around it. It's going to have sufficient moisture. Wind shear will be low until around 12Z tomorrow. And at that point, wind shear will begin to skyrocket, and within 24 hours of that time, wind shear will be in the 25 to 30 knot range, and that will be
Yikes.
the killing blow
Right, let's get
for
let's
this
get some
relatively
imagery up on
small
these
storm.
storms. Let's get some
Yeah.
imagery up on this storm.
I was trying to talk about what the JTWC is talking about, environmental analysis, but Schwent basically said it, so thank you. Right now, they're saying the current shear is about 15 to 20 knots of vertical wind shear, which is about moderate. There's strong polar outflow, and then the sea surface are the same. All the models are saying it's going to track south-southwestward over the next 24 hours, but only the GFS is reaching warning criteria according to what the JTWC is saying. They're going.
I've got imagery of 92S pulled up on my screen, courtesy of weathernerds.org, I should know. And certainly the argument is there that this is a tropical storm right now. ASCAT, I think earlier today, got what, 40 knot barbs?
It did. And I'm surprised they've only overridden to 35 knots because there's a pretty significant field of 40 knot barbs from what I saw. And you'd think that at least some of those are legit.
About that, actually, it has to be noted that the storm is, excuse me, is still pretty close to Sumatra. The topography of the western coast of Sumatra is very mountainous, and I believe someone here, I believe it was Ryan Mack, has said that topography could help in speeding up wind speed in storms that are just offshore. So that 40 knots could probably is not necessarily saying that it's a tropical cyclone, but it's simply an effect that the mountainous topography cause sort of the wind sort of just increase because of it. So there's that.
I don't think it's quite close enough to shore for that. I mean, you'd need the center of circulation very close to shore, so the center itself, that radius of maximum winds, is over land and getting compressed by mountainous terrain. I don't think it's quite that close.
Elias did that.
I have a
Here's...
question.
Go ahead.
Not about 92S, but I'm also looking at the JTWC's website. What's going on with 94W in the Bay of Bengal? Because the JTWC has a medium formation area.
That's about right.
Here's a still image of the West Pac. You can just see right here. This is, I forget its name, Niato. which was the replacement name for Meranti, I think, if I'm correct. But you can just see how large this system's influence is. And over here, this thing in the eastern Bay of Bengal, this is 94W, which is a significant threat to the coast of India. Let me just pull up RAM data on this real quick. Last I saw, this could become a hurricane force system. I don't know what the models are showing right now. Yeah.
Talk about that.
HWRF though.
I've been looking into 94W myself. I would like to note that it is very much likely that it does get redesignated soon as a Bay of Bengal invest, so the designation of that will very much likely change. Probably within the next 12 hours, given the fact that it's already crossed out of Malaysia at this point. But as of right now, as you can see, between the flipping of the screens, you can see the general forecast that it does move westwards before taking that northwesterly turn towards the eastern coast or possibly northeastern part of India. So we are talking about a pretty good population that is currently needing to watch the system. And it looks like most of the models do bring it up to moderate to upper end tropical storm strength. Of course, Category 1 can't be ruled out at the moment, but as of right now, it's got the sea surface temperatures it needs. Wind shear is rather moderate, but in terms of the relative humidity, it's going to be decreasing, which would, of course, favor less intensification. So that is something that we're going to be watching with 94W, soon to be a Bay of Bengal invest in the coming days. Of course,
I have to interrupt you, Xavier. We are joined by Cesar Games.
Oh.
No way.
Wow.
Wow.
Let's go!
Nice.
Cesar, how about that? Xavier is interrupted for you.
I feel flattered. I never
Space.
expected that. Thank
You
you
don't
for
mind me
the,
just talking about a
for the
system
heart.
that poses a threat to, a whole bunch of millions of people and then getting interrupted by someone joining.
Xavier, that's not entirely new for you.
So, Cesar, if you don't mind me asking, what are your thoughts on Niato right now in the West Pack?
Well, looks decent so far, but I don't think it's going to be that significant. Probably like a Category 2 high end.
I think it might peak as a Cat 3, to be honest.
Well, the JTWC, as of right now, has been lowering their forecast with each passing day. It started off with the first advisory. They did have it going up to 140.
Which I thought was silly.
130. And then yesterday, they lowered it down to 110 miles an hour. And as of their latest forecast, they keep it typhoon longer now, but they have lowered the forecast further down to 105 miles an hour.
Which is more sensible.
Yeah, which is sensible.
I'd like to note that there was one cone yesterday where it was back up to 120.
Yeah.
Yeah, so something tells me that the 90 knot peak that the DWC has listed might not actually be their exact peak. So it might not peak, at that specific time slot that they're peaking. It might peak before or after that specific point. Hopefully that makes sense.
Well, the 2 points on the cone is December 2nd, 6Z at 85 knots, and December 2nd, 18Z at 90 knots. So it could peak anywhere in between that 12-hour point.
Or even a little bit after that, even.
Or even after the 90 knot, yeah. It's very possible. Going back to 94...
if you don't mind me cutting you off here a little bit, this is very much similar to a Neuron situation where the jet stream could either tear the storm apart via wind shear, or it could even enhance the winds for a little bit. It's just something that we'll have to wait and see what happens with this system.
Hopefully it doesn't do the latter, because
do the first option, please.
Do the first option, please, so I don't have to literally bash my head against a wall about as hard as I slammed that door in response to Xavier's Hode joke during that one TWB.
What the heck is going on Christian's face cam?
You really like
Christian has done this lovely. There's this lovely little Discord. He's using this Discord feature.
By the weekend.
That's
No,
ridiculous.
it's not working as well as I'd hope.
No.
Fine, I'll turn it off.
It's fine.
Look, Christian, it's not as bad as what you see behind me, which is all of my Love Live merchandise on full display for everyone to see. Look, this is over $700.
Still very purple.
$700 United States dollars for all of these dumb little plushies.
A man of culture. A man of culture.
But Alfred, you want to know what the great thing about what you just mentioned was?
Is the fact that I'm never going to become a full member because that is the entire
What? No. But, yeah. No, it's just the fact that you get to see Honey's joke on May 15th. You all have to wait 6 months now.
I do have to mention, though.
Do a Geico reference there.
I do have to mention, though.
Hmm.
Tonight, literally in an hour and 15 minutes, one of my animations is premiering. Go watch it in an hour and 15 minutes.
We've got a few things before that.
Before that, I was gonna say, what is in 15 minutes?
Hurricane season's about to end. We're all going to be very happy. And I should point out that I know that Cesar's only reason for being here tonight is because of that fantastic fact. So, Cesar, any comment that you'd like to make on the season we've seen and how you feel that it's finally ending?
Well, of course, it's finally ending after 5th year in a row with a series of really active hurricane seasons.
Always a great time for your Discord to crash.
Sounds like a skill issue.
And 2021 is placed as the 3rd most active, which, I mean, my goodness.
By number of named storms, obviously.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, finally the season has ended. We had pretty much intense and significant storms, to be fair. And well, let's hope that 2022 gets back to normal activity, not those crazy and intense storms that we've been seeing on the recent years.
Now, Cesar, this morning I was looking at the GFS model run, and it had long range, not that medium range, it had a tropical cyclone that formed south of the equator, north of Papua New Guinea, and sort of made landfall there. And the first thing I thought was, Cesar laugh.
Oh, no.
Would you like to try it again? For old time's sake.
Literally, I'm famous of that outrageous laugh. I don't know why. I don't know how to like copy that laugh because it was
No,
just
you can't
natural.
do it anymore.
I think I'm the one with the most capable laugh.
Yes, yes.
I think my voice has changed a little bit.
But still, and this is actually creepy because there's someone in the chat who is called C, and that is something that we can still do quite nicely. That C impression. C. Remember that one?
Oh yes, of course.
Exactly. All the in-jokes that we used to have. Cesar, of course, for those who may not know Cesar, he is a very long-standing member in our first generation of members in 2015. He's still around, does all the Spanish updates, did quite a few of them during this season, didn't you?
Well, it's amazing how time flies. I've been part of Force 13 officially 6 years and a half, and still going, of course. It's a huge honor that I'm practically one of the oldest members in Force 13 and witnessed all the growth that this project had.
And he witnessed Marcel when he was really a baby. When he first joined, those old days.
Excuse me. Did I just hear the word baby and Marcel in the same sentence?
Yes, he was the baby of the bunch for a long time, and he isn't anymore.
And I'm the baby now?
I don't know who is now.
Let's go?
You'll find out when the most insufferable award comes out on Friday.
Oh, it could be, yeah.
Wait, no, I think...
The
The baby is Ethan, fanboying over Ethan. There you go.
I'd also like to point out that Isaac is here, manning the lights, it would seem.
Yes. Yeah, Isaac has as great quality with his camera as his images, as always.
Yo, what's your flip phone, man? What's your Android flip phone?
1972 here. Don't mind me.
Oh my goodness.
You got.
I think Isaac's
The
display is
camera is
more
still up.
colorful than mine.
I mean, that camera is amazing.
Thank you, Cesar. I appreciate it. Here's my
that
thumb
camera-
saying that.
You know what you all should do though?
Take 50% or more by switching out with your car choice or switching over to
Alfiri,
Geico.
don't
You
say
should-
it. Oh, for God's
You
sake.
should go
Alfiri,
subscribe.
I do have strokes from time to time.
We should
Go
do what?
subscribe to Isaac's channel because he produces great
What?
satellite imagery edits on his channel.
Oh, thanks.
Shameless plugging now. You went from
There you go.
shameless advertising to shameless plugging.
I mean, we can plug everyone's channel in the next hour.
Yeah, we can plug in
Tessie.
youtube.com/
You plug microcasting St. Louis.
nickname on
No,
YouTube.
no. I heard Thomas say let's not. I mean, there is...
occasionally on
Let's
there.
plug some of Schwent's old
Well,
videos on the YouTube
the-
channel.
Like it,
There is that old channel.
Atlantic Storms, but they talk by Xavier. Yo, those are the great videos.
We don't.
No. Where's the 2021 edition?
apparently has more
Where's the
subscribers
2021
than-
edition, huh?
There are so people who are extremely salty about it, who are probably working in live chat right now. We don't need to go into that, okay?
Let's not forget the Took Bros channel.
Let's talk. Now,
Oh,
I'm
no.
already on that channel. I'm already on that channel.
I'm not going to say it again. Don't worry.
Never say
And
that
then there's
again.
me, who's like the Geometry Dash YouTuber, which just feels so weird.
And then I'm the NASCAR one.
Regional channel.
I just do music.
And look what you've done. You've got someone in the chat saying, let's watch FCX's old videos.
Now, believe it or not,
Oh dear
th-
God.
there is a
Bless
very,
me.
very old channel on YouTube that I used in 2009 that is still out there, but I'm not telling you where it is.
It's not your current.
You gotta dig to
Right,
find.
Nathan, I've got it up on my screen.
It's not any of my
No.
current ones, no, not any of my
Okay.
past ones that I've told you
What's-
about either.
I've got it up on my screen, Nathan.
I still remember that first one.
Ethan, what are you doing?
Days. I just, for the life of me, forgot the name of it.
We're looking at a floater.
It's old
What-
Schwent.
Well.
Oh, it's Thomas's video.
What?
I can't hear it. It's very quiet. He's just drawing some circles.
Oh wait, hold on. I need to turn up the volume. Here we go.
Listen to his voice.
No, I'd rather not, but okay.
You know, little Thomas. It's nice. It's
Oh my god.
M.com.
Holy crap! Oh my god, he's
It
painful!
sounds so different from his voice nowadays. Listen to
Oh,
him.
it's painful!
I mean, I would say that this isn't really fair unless Ethan's got one of him when he was little as well.
I have one of me when I was little. You want me to pull that up?
Did Ethan upload anything to YouTube when he was little?
I don't think so.
I actually did, actually.
You
Go to
did?
my,
Really?
Let me go to my...
You're gonna do this?
Why
okay,
do you
let
have
me-
a hammer
let
and
me-
sickle on your profile picture for your personal?
That's not my my actual... Because
What's on Kay's screen?
Not many people actually know
nothing.
this, but my YouTube channel that I used to upload to is actually been... I actually can't
my
access
God.
my videos anymore, believe it or not.
Oh no.
Also,
Let me try and figure out where, one of my old videos from like 2015 are, and that's when I was 13. Let's see if I can find it somewhere.
So while you do that, I'm just gonna mention about
You
90.
don't talk about my old videos.
Or
We're just
W.
thinking before 2020, no.
But
We
if
don't
people
talk
want to
about-
see old videos of me, they can just watch my documentary or look at my channel.
Hey, hey,
Okay.
hey,
hey, what are you
What's
doing?
they doing?
hey.
No, no.
And for
No.
those who don't know about my personal channel, I'll plug it. Just search my name.
Can you just rickroll the entire...
Yep.
Crawling out.
Rickroll.
Okay, that's
it
all
could
I'm
be
gonna-
worse.
All I'm gonna say is, I'm now going to give you up. I'm now going to let you down. I'm going to run around and desert you.
Xavier,
I'm gonna make you
That are
I'm
going
gonna
to
say
make-
Claim
goodbye.
this before the
I'm gonna
stream
pull
gets
a line
taken
and hurt
down for
you.
copyright infringement.
It's possible.
All of us cry.
Elliot,
If
you
the
have your
word wide
tuba.
for you,
Let's make a cover right now.
I do not have
Hey.
my tuba with me at the moment, unfortunately.
Ah.
Aww.
Granny, you alright? Are you okay there?
Look, all I can really say right now is that, at least whenever it comes to my own channel, I still need to do stuff for that. I made my video on Guitar Hero Styles, and that was a fun mess I don't want to go back into. But more importantly, is
I
that
don't
I'm
want to talk
to
about
find
it.
that one video of when I was really young, and why are people calling me? They're telling me dinner's ready, then I'm sorry, I'm not hungry.
I just want to. Who remembers this year when Xavier failed uploading a TWB and was just
We
linking
don't
for Rickroll?
don't finish that. Don't finish that. We don't talk about that either.
Yeah, we do.
No, we do
I
talk
don't
about
know.
it.
You know how
It
disappointed
was
I
an honest
was.
mistake, okay?
Come on, keep going.
He dropped
Come
the
on.
full MP4 that I have on my
Fun
computer
fact,
of the Rickroll music video in the public server.
Mm.
No, I have the image of Xavier pinging everyone for the TWB, saying it was the TWB, but it was actually never going to give him up.
And
Xavier
instead, I
Burns.
accidentally pasted the same link, pinging the notification spot again with the correct link, which ended up being the same link from before, which means I had accidentally rickrolled for the second time.
Damn.
Well,
So,
here's the
I'm
thing,
sure-
Xavier. Here's
Put
the
air
thing.
quotes around the word accidentally.
Your accident, your happy little accident is permanently stained in no context photo for all of our viewing pleasure.
I want to point out, guys, it's 5 minutes to go.
Oh, yeah.
Here's the thing,
Oh,
Xavier
boy.
in
Already 5?
Mm.
So do we want to actually
the right link, you could have saved 15% or more on your car insurance by switching to Geico.
Hey, Jonesy,
You can customize
please
your
stop.
car insurance. They're really mutual.
I'm
Oh,
scrolling down here because I can't actually access my old YouTube channel's videos.
No, that's not good enough.
I know it's stupid because YouTube changed the settings of emails that are linked to school accounts, so I can't access that anymore.
Ah, yes.
But I do have my first ever Storm update where I sound appalling on the main channel. So.
Oh, on us.
I did want to point out that the NHC's most recent outlook does state that this is the final outlook of the season.
Hey.
Hey.
I do.
3 minutes to go. 3
Okay,
minutes
so
to
do we
go.
actually want to go over our thoughts on this year's hurricane season? Because I kind of have a.
Just a minute. I want to watch Ethan's video.
And it sucks.
This is it.
Oh, this is already beautiful. You
Speed
can
it
already
up.
see how great it is by the fact that you just see the text is just centered there.
Here we go. Come on, Ethan.
It's gonna sound similar, but
This
it's
is the latest on Cyclone Kiar as of 0 o'clock UTC, October 29th.
Wait, that's
Listen
alright.
to my narration is so choppy.
Pressure of
Oh dear God, this is beautiful.
based on
This is like the
Celsius.
most beautiful update I've ever
You
heard.
have to start
The
somewhere.
CDPS
You also sound
Absolutely,
like you're
gotta start
really
somewhere.
bored.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a little
exactly.
bit. Could be worse.
Yeah, just
I mean,
the
to be
character's
fair-
category is score in the ocean, and Ethan's just bored. You know, nothing serious.
You know what? I will say that's a very similar start to how I started on doing video updates on this channel.
Right.
Alright, so
2
if you
minutes.
want to
guys.
see,
Oh gosh.
What's going on
My first
there?
update was Naran, so that was a lovely system.
okay,
Alpheria?
so this is a school presentation in 8th grade.
Oh, no.
So
Oh, no.
basically, I'm gonna tell you the backstory behind this because this
Oh,
is
no.
exactly. This is how James Spann first found out about me. I'm not even kidding.
Wow.
So back in 8th grade, we were given an assignment to do a article on someone who's like a hero who saved someone's life, and so I picked James Spann.
Fair enough.
Oh dear.
And I'm not gonna go too much into it because I think I say my full name here and what school I'm part of. But can we just like get to the part of where I start?
Is that you?
Oh.
Is that you as a child?
8th grade.
Look at that little guy.
Oh, adorable.
Seconds.
Alright, I just want to point out we've got about a minute.
I'm just listening to Alpheria.
Begin the countdown!
Begin the countdown.
You sound the
Alright,
same.
we are down to 55 seconds.
You sound virtually the
Nobody
same.
apparently can hear me. Nobody
heard
can
it.
literally. I can't even hear myself. Yeah, I started like adorable there, but like me and my old videos, it was like way worse.
Mm-hmm.
But all of them have been taken
40
down.
seconds.
Alright, so 30 seconds now until the end of Atlantic hurricane season, and we
35
can
actually.
wave
Bye,
goodbye.
nerds.
Well, we've got our
nerds.
clock here, Xavier, that says
I have the universal clock.
20. This is also a universal clock.
Then your clock is off.
No, your
clock is off.
No, your clock is
Your
off.
clock No, is your off. Clock is off.
18,
Yeah, we're gonna have an international debate.
Guys, shut up.
8, 7,
5 seconds.
6, 5,
Five,
4,
four,
3, 2, 1.
There we go.
Happy
There
New
we
Year.
go.
Anniversary to Force 13.
That was just a wall of noise.
Happy end of 2021
End of a
Atlantic
crazy
hurricane
season.
season.
End of a season that.
Alright,
Okay,
so...
this year's hurricane season has been
Atlantic,
weird.
nobody liked you.
Yeah.
So
See
there
you
we
next
have it.
year.
Kay, how
Happy
do
all-
you feel? Go. I'm picking on Kay.
I am just very happy. I mean, good riddance to 2021. I hope the North Atlantic isn't early next year.
It will be.
I should
Can we
mention
get
we
an
are
August
still in
start?
2021. Okay.
Did you say
Can we
an
get an
August
El
start and an
Nino?
October end?
Oh, August start, September end.
Or you could have a September start, September end, like we did one year.
Yeah, but
If
I
we
don't
manage to get that in the 21st century, I will eat a sod.
Here's a late. Here's a.
Oh, the announcement.
this-
Sorry, I forgot. It's just past midnight. Is Thomas Schwent still here? Was he gone?
No, he's gone.
I don't think he's.
Oh my
What?
god, he's dead! Who killed Schwent?
Yeah.
I did.
Who's killed
I
Schwent?
did.
Who's the imposter? Who is sus?
You see, I decided that Schwent no longer served the purpose in this call, so yeah, he's gone now.
We're
God
ejecting
damn it.
Xavier, everybody. We're
I'm
ejecting
not-
Xavier.
Xavier.
Xavier is the imposter.
Do we know if
You
Schwent
are
is coming
imposter.
back? Or is he gone?
No.
I don't know.
He's
Is
gone.
Schwent Engie?
I've let him know in the internal
You
chat
choose
to get
this
back
moment to go.
Well, we have some interesting theories about what's going on with. Someone had said Thomas left and is still angry.
I have a statement on my screen, Nathan.
Oh, have you?
What?
What's the statement?
Oh God, no!
Old
is the statement,
times.
I'm too lazy to check.
The
Yeah.
title is Hudson Great Again.
Yeah.
What are my eyes seeing? I'm not.
This aged incredibly well.
This
I'm
is without
so
sound,
confused.
but I don't.
Why is there a-
If people want to know exactly what this is, watch the 2018 Force 13 week.
I'm so confused.
I
And we
unfortunately
were.
have some sad news for
Picking
the
up the grade again.
for the stream.
Yes.
Following the closing messages and the closing of the North Atlantic discussion channel on our Discord server, incredible members of our Force 13 Discord have reacted to my message saying, "Goodbye 2021 North Atlantic, I hope you're late next year." The reaction has been 7 people saying February Cat 5.
February Cat 5 that strikes into Nicaragua.
If you want a February Cat 5, go look at Lee's Ultimate Fan typo. It's that simple.
No. Just look at whatever you're working on for next year, the funny project.
We don't
Look at
talk
Woo
about
Tip.
Right then, so we've not
If you
got
want
a
a
Thomas
February
Schwent, have
Cat
we?
5?
Is
No.
Schwent back?
I'm just gonna mention.
I want to go over my thoughts on last year's hurricane or this year's hurricane season because I have never felt so mixed about a hurricane season before. Because on one hand, we had the obvious bad storm, we had Ida, but what it did this year was just the most WTH hurricane season we've had in a while, which isn't really saying much, but it's a lot.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
you
saying that
had
about
the
2021. So first you have Anna, which just kind of exists. Bill also exists. Then you have Tropical Storm Walmart.
For those that are not in the know.
Yeah, I mean, you've had the classic storms that just draw the line. I mean, is it a tropical depression, tropical storm? You have
You have
things like
Danny.
Sam that had really good pressure.
And then Danny had a 30% chance of formation and then forms next day as a named system.
Yeah.
I should also note, welcome to December.
Yes, indeed.
December 1st.
Right.
calendar.
Right, listen.
All I want
UTC.
for
Calendar.
Christmas
Oh,
is
dear.
you.
No, stop.
Right, okay. I'm
All we
gonna.
want for Christmas is
Alright,
Honey.
guys. I'm gonna make my announcement before we lose any more viewers thanks to singing. And it's quite a big announcement. Not many people know about this at all. But
Brace for impact. Brace for impact, folks.
I have been busy.
Have you?
Working.
Brace for
You
impact.
put this whole week on.
Yes, I put this whole week on, and on Friday night.
Wait, hold on. We gotta get the Hurricane Week
Is
2020.
this what I think it is?
Hold on.
What?
Go on, Nathan.
We gotta
Oh.
get the suspenseful music.
No, we don't need no suspenseful music.
No, we
Ethan.
don't.
No, we do.
On Friday night, I will be releasing the second version of the 2017 Atlantic Hurricane season.
Oh God.
2017 Hurricane season version 2.
All right.
Pretty good.
Because it was requested 22 times in 6 months. In the last
Isn't
6
that our
months.
most-
That's
Isn't
quite
that,
sizable.
isn't that our most
Nathan, I have a
viewed
request.
video?
I have a request.
Mm.
Since you animated 2017 Atlantic, can I animate 2017 East Pack?
No.
No.
You can animate.
That was a unanimous no.
But Ethan.
You will go like that.
No, obviously we're gonna have Xavier animate it because we all know that Xavier really loves the East Pack, especially after turret seasons.
But by all means, Ethan, I will let Ethan animate 2021 East Packs. I know you're going to do a great job.
Since we are
But
now
let's
doing
think
requests,
about this here. This would be a better trade-off. If Ethan animates the track of Hurricane Arena 2011, then maybe we consider.
Hurricane Rena?
Yes, Hurricane Rena 2011.
Hurricane Rena Tenoji? Yo, I love Rena Tenoji. Look at her. Look at her. She's so cute. I have been waiting to make that. I have been waiting to make that joke for a solid year now.
Good lord.
well, since now everybody is doing requests, I like to do a request as well.
Oh God.
Hmm.
For an East Pack season.
Can we do a Category 5 on the Mediterranean Sea?
No.
Sure.
You'll have to ask Xavier because I don't animate hypos. Because hypos suck.
Oh no, one of my friends
I
is
am the
finding
guy
out that I
people
gifted her something on
get
Steam.
their insane hypos request animator or whatever.
Hypos suck. I have made a promise that I have committed to now for almost a year, and that is I will not animate a single hypo to date. Have not animated a single hypo. Cannot.
Well done.
Will not.
Well done.
Basically, pay Ethan like $500 for every make a hypo. Got it.
I wouldn't do it. No.
Just for those who
No,
missed the
Ethan
news,
would
I'll
take the
just
money,
reiterate that we are doing 2017 Atlantic version 2, releasing on Friday, out to Ultimate fans probably tonight.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And there's still more to come from this week. Maybe not massive surprises, but the 2021 Mega Mix, that's going to be nice.
Well, there is
Oh
one.
yeah, that is going to be fun.
50 minutes from now, we have 2010 East Pack premiering.
Yeah, go on, Ethan. Go on, Ethan. Go on. Go on. Go on.
And then I know that later this week, I don't know if it's coming with Force or Team Week, but sometime in a week or two, we have 1976 East Pack, which
No,
is...
that is on Thursday.
Thank you, but that is a notable season because it featured 2 Category 4 landfalls along the mainland coast of Mexico, 7 days apart from each other.
Ouch.
So like Yota and Ada, except East Pack edition.
Pretty much.
Pretty much.
And I should also point
and
out that tomorrow at what time? Let's see, midnight UTC tomorrow. So 24 hours from now, we will be having a special guest interview. Ooh, Pog indeed. Apparently, and
Woggy's in the chat, guys.
and in 48 hours from now, Thursday night, It's Guess the Storm.
Which I wouldn't be able to be a part of because of work. Hooray!
Yes.
Yeah.
So basically, what
Yeah, I
you're
don't know
telling
when
me
I'll
is
be able to
I'm
show up
winning
tomorrow
the
because
game
it
with
seems
my
tomorrow
Wikipedia
will look slightly
abilities. Got it.
different.
I have
I-
a request, Nathan, for the Get the Storm show.
No.
Yes.
Whenever viewers get it right, they get 1 point. Whenever the team gets it right, we get 5 points.
Well, that's a bit silly, isn't it?
Well,
We
considering
actually
how
need a
well it
chance
went
then.
last time.
Every time
No
Ethan
point in
admits
me using
that
Wikipedia
either
then
A,
if,
better
if we're gonna get 5
Rena is
points.
a free pet, or B, Rena is better than Rita, then the team gets 5 points. There we go.
The fairest way to do Guess the Storm is to have a team, our team versus the same amount, say
Viewers.
5 versus 5, and 5 viewers come on here and play against the team. Hey? But the rest of the viewers will feel alienated.
I'd say that the team should at least have some sort of help.
I
I'm
don't
sure
know
we have
how.
viewers that say everything is Katrina or something like that, so you know.
But hey,
I do.
Mhm.
I've been talking with Thomas about the potential of something happening for Hurricane Week. It may be too late to put it in there, but it's something really, really, really stupid that he wants to have
Of
shown on
course it
Hurricane
is.
Week.
And don't
It
forget,
is something.
we do have another animation coming out later on.
There's another
How many things do you have to advertise? Dear goodness.
There's so many things. I mean, I've
about
got
the
so
Team
many
Hypo?
things to advertise too. I mean, you can talk about Team Hypo, but I got to mention the even bigger things. You can search the links on the website for easy access. The Force 13 Awards. We need people to vote.
Vote for Mitchell.
Force13.com/awards.
You guys are forgetting the fact that Duncan exists and he is
Yeah.
the Force 13 mascot.
And
Well,
on
so does Mia,
Saturday,
and she's my dog.
Saturday, Force 13's Force for Good. You can find that as well. We've already set up the campaign page. Force13.com/Force for Good. So take a look at that as well. Very important. That's what we're doing on Saturday. Right, I've said everything I need to say now, so you guys can just go on and.
So I
whatever.
just want to say,
One at a time, though. What was that, Xavier?
Like, you had to spoil the Team Hypo, didn't you?
What about the Team Hypo?
You said something about it and how it's happening.
Oh God, I
it's
knew
not
Thomas
confirmed
was
yet.
thinking something.
Well, Ethan was talking about it.
Schwinn did not learn his lesson this
The
time.
2019 Team Hypo was the best Team Hypo ever recorded, though.
Right.
There's a
Schwinn?
change
No.
with the Team Hypos this
No.
year. Of course, as
Or was
many
it
of us,
2020? I
Thomas
forget.
has been rather unavailable for much of this year after April. So he was unable to make the Team Hypo for 2021. But of course, we always know that, everyone loves the Team Hypos, how cursed it is. And you know what? I was like, you know what, Thomas? I have an idea. What if I make the Team Hypo this year?
You
got to
did
see
you?
how that was a really bad idea within this the Force 13 week. Basically,
Yeah,
I would suggest that you get I don't know. I don't want to review anything about it because you guys know how bad they usually are. I mean, it's arguably worse with every passing year. But I can say, even though there are people who want Schwinn to do these Team Hypos, I hope that I live up to expectations.
Yeah, basically, you're
knowing
gonna
Xavier,
Didn't
there
you
is
put
going
something
to
on-
be. Knowing Xavier and his hypos, there's going to be a storm with winds of at least 215 miles per hour in it.
The
I can
pressure
tell
of
you
60
that
That's tiny for
I
Team
think that would be a
Hypo.
good guess.
So, Xavier.
do-
Sorry, I must ask Xavier. You're on here tomorrow, right?
What do you mean?
Well, I hope you are, because that's when the Team Hypo's supposed to be shown.
Yeah, I might
and
Slightly late.
Tomorrow?
It depends on what
boy.
happens because like this
You're
week
giving
has
the
not
viewers something to look
given me the
forward
best
to.
in terms of scheduling. So tomorrow I get my braces off right after school.
right.
So,
Because
so
we'll
perfect
we'll
timing.
need you we'll
by
need you
my
here
time.
to screen share it.
Yes. Yeah, I should be
Or-
able to. What time did you have it set for?
It is for 11:30 p.m. UTC.
So that would be 6:30. Yeah, I should be able to make it.
Ooh, we got away with that one then.
I'm not gonna give too much info on what exactly the stupid thing Schwent wants to have happen, but it's so stupid that I flat out told Schwent that I do not want him to do it, but
Well, it
he's
is Schwent.
insistent on... No, it's something stupid that everyone here has seen yesterday, but nobody else has.
I will say.
Out of context folder video.
I will say. I'm not gonna name off. I'm not gonna name off certain numbers.
Had to do it. I'm sorry, Alperi. I had to do it to you.
I do have a few Westpac season animations planned for this winter that do have. Some seasons may have 200-mile-per-hour storms or more in them. Just saying.
All right, can I may I add my
guess
two
I
to
can advertise
Yes.
one more thing of mine.
Go ahead.
I know there's been something that has been requested probably more than 22 times so far this year. And I'm finally getting my butt moving on terms of animating that over the last few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So people have been definitely questioning, for the right reasons, where's the 2020 Worldwide Cyclone Season animation?
It's coming.
It's coming. December. December, it
Well,
will finally
let's put it this way: we're in December now.
Well, it's definitely coming out this
Coming this month.
Coming this month.
Okay. Well,
Coming this month to a movie, to a theater near you.
Soon.
well, now it's Farhan's turn to speak.
All right, is the animation promo drop over yet? My God, you guys are a lot of those. What I want to say is that I really enjoy hearing you guys talk about the hurricane season when the countdown and just after it. As someone who was pretty much absent throughout the whole of it because one, I was busy with school. I have now transitioned from a high school student to a university student, so I was busy with that. I wasn't active at all in the Atlantic. And two, because I was just flat tired with the Atlantic. I think the Atlantic is the most noisy, insufferable basin to track and keep track of. And I am glad that I did not track of it at all this year. And from the way you guys describe it, I am even more happy that I've simply just stood by the sideline. I think I have made the right decision.
Yeah, understandable. I don't think I have given my thoughts about anything. I mean, there was the opportunity in the public server, never took that, and I haven't really discussed my thoughts, and I kind of have a lot considering I've been quite busy with this Atlantic season. I've kind of been forced to be quite busy with all the basins this year. But in terms of what I thought of the Atlantic this year, 2020 of course still takes the cake with all the landfalls and majors and all that stuff we see. 2021 of course quite considerable as well, quite weird as well. This would be my 6th year of actually actively tracking tropical cyclones. So at this point, I've now watched every single list, at least tracked them all. At this point, I think that 2021 definitely lived up in terms of how many tropical storms we were expected to get. In terms of hurricanes and majors, I was a little bit surprised to see that we only got 7. But thankfully that was not any higher for such an active season. And it's been something that we've noted the last 2 years here. It's like we see these active seasons, but yet we don't have that many that would usually reflect that, because of course 2020 with its activity, so many people compared it to 2005 and all, because of course 2005 was pretty much the most blockbuster of a season you can get. Of course, it had Ethan's favorite storm, Rita.
Yes.
There. Anyways, but of course, after post-analysis, it was realized that, of course, 2020 never had any Category 5s, which, given the 31 storms or 31 tropical cyclones that we had formed, was quite interesting. Now, of course, there is still some room for debate in terms of 2021, whether Hurricane Sam was a Category 5. We'll see what the National Hurricane Center says when they release their tropical cyclone report. But I think that this year was yet another reminder that, of course, everyone needs to be ready for each and every year. Of course, 2020, pretty much every single city that was near a coast was under some kind of tropical storm warning, with the exception of Tallahassee for whatever reason. And of course, it was just everywhere that was getting hit. This year, we had some weird ones. I mean, Anna, that was its own record for it broke the record for being the northeasternmost forming storm in May. We had Bill, which was odd to say the least, considering the fact was trying to develop some kind of partial eye wall at 40 degrees north in June. I mean, Claudette, as of course Alfredia mentioned,
Walmart.
Became a tropical storm over a Walmart, and then became a tropical storm again over a Walmart. Danny, that was a rather kamikaze storm, but that was also the first June storm that actually made landfall in South Carolina since the 1860s, to my knowledge. Elsa, I'm not even sure why they decided it was a good idea to name that one, because of course a whole bunch of memes followed that one.
Well, it was also fast moving. If you don't forget, it was moving at like 30 miles an hour across the entire Caribbean.
Yeah,
Elsa just kind of let it go.
Yeah,
Elsa was also the.
Someone said that during a live stream.
Elsa was also the third tropical storm that I've ever been in.
Yeah, Elsa.
Oh, yeah, you were
I think we got 2 inches of rain from Elsa as it passed to the east of here. It wasn't too far. It was only like 100 miles to the east that it passed here. Fred was already interesting enough, considering the fact that we had 2 lives, and we always like to consider those as oddities. Grace, I hate that storm for obvious and completely biased reasons.
Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1
Hello,
second.
I am a
Isaac, are you standing in front of a storm? Where are you?
I've been in here for like an hour and you just noticed it.
Good job.
Yes, but
I just noticed it because you just turned your mic on.
I have some mood lighting going on. Oh, I'm sorry, too loud. I have some mood lighting behind me, and then I have some mood lighting above me on this blur cam that I bought back in 2005. So yeah.
Nice.
But Grace,
also-
Grace was an interesting system. I remember it wouldn't, for the life of it, it just kept pretty much going due west its entire life. Made landfall over the Yucatan as a Category 1. Then made its last landfall as a Category 3 after it exploded in the Bay of Campeche, which I think it was only rivaled by Hurricane Carl in 2010.
Yep, and of course I'm completely
Pretty
biased
interesting
to
and
that
unique system.
hurricane because I had to do landfall coverage on it on the first hours of my birthday, so that wasn't fun. And then of course at the same time as Grace, there was Henri, and that was one of the weirdest tropical cyclones I've actively tracked. I mean, anything that forms northeast of Bermuda, you'd expect it goes, east or northeast or whatever, right?
South.
Like that's like the normal track, and instead Henri just makes a random U-turn over this really elongated U-turn over Bermuda to the west, and then hits New England. So that was a very weird storm.
Henri was not fun because I had to unflood my basement for like a period of like 24 hours. Like we were trying to get a sud pump down there before it, and then we didn't. So we had to unflood the basement of like 5 to 10 inches of rain, and then literally right after Henri, we had Ida hit the Gulf Coast, but we also had Ida's remnants come here, and that dropped another 5 inches of rain. Thankfully, the landlord put the sud pump in by that time, but still, we had like a bunch of rainmakers. Like, like Elsa, Fred, Henri, and Ida, literally all in a row.
Was that
Ida was a very big scare here too. We got 5 inches of rain as well, and we had a tornado threat too, so that was not fun at all here.
Schwent's back.
Yes, I have no clue what's happening.
There's just been a comment saying.
My thoughts on the season.
There's just been a comment saying, "Can someone give me the updates for Enid Fanny?"
What?
I assume that's what you meant. But you're not going to make me laugh by talking about Enid Fanny today.
No, Nathan, you're not going to laugh.
No, you are not going to
You see?
laugh.
Yeah, it's been years since that happened. I've completely cured of
You're
Enid
completely
Fanny-itis.
composed. Yes.
You're immune to it.
What is that?
What is that?
That is K. Hello, K.
Hey, why are you a
Okay.
shark?
Kay has decided to live up to her Discord name this evening.
You know what?
which is-
You know what? I was gonna refrain from it, but you know what? Kay has confirmed that she listens to Baby Shark with each passing day, and has now become a Baby Shark stan.
No.
Xavier, no.
No, Xavier,
You
that's
did
Left
this to
Shark
yourself,
and Right
okay?
Shark from the Katy Perry Super Bowl. That's not Baby Shark.
Great. Well done.
I regret nothing.
Nathan, when are you going to announce thingy things?
I already did.
He already did. He already did, Schwent.
Oh.
We did all of it.
That's why we were pinging you. That's
Yeah, you missed
So
it.
what things were
Oh,
announced?
there's a pig now. Look at that.
2017 D2.
Oh, that was okay.
In 3 days.
And we also
Very
Alfieri was
excited
also
to see
saying
it.
how Alfieri was also saying how you wanted him to show something, and he didn't say the name, and then I said the name out of context folder video.
Well,
meanwhile, Kay has now acquired a baby Peppa Pig to join Baby
What?
Shark.
That's not a Peppa Pig, and all I see is bacon.
Thomas,
Yes, Nathan.
I want you to tell me whether I should answer this question or not. Tropical Cyclone 100 says, will the 2017 version 2 animation contain the greatest storm to ever exist, PTC 10?
Do not answer the question.
What a silly question that is.
I will answer it.
No.
Thomas has said no, so the answer's no. But it's a pretty silly question if you're talking about PTC 10. Good lord. I don't know why there's such a big fan club for that pitiful
Because it's
thing.
PTC 10.
Nathan, it's PTC 10.
That's a
Come
better
on.
percentage of what I can discuss.
So I'm just going to say this: PTC, literally for the longest time, because Claudette was not forming, everybody was literally comparing it to
Yeah.
PTC 10 because you literally could. Like literally, the storms were pretty so identical for the longest time. And Kay now has Among Us.
Oh.
Yeah, that was Claudette was not fun to track. I mean, it seems to be that like a lot of the things I when I first actually started doing things for storms, like I decided to be put with the most painful storms to do things on, and my first live TWB that I have ever done was in association with what became Claudette. So
Yeah.
not a fun
I
storm to
took-
forecast.
I think I took the most painful storm of them all, though, at the most painful point in its life.
Go on.
Typhoon at Sani.
Mm.
Oh, that's Sonny.
Have you seen the cone that I had to make for that?
Oh yeah, I mean
Oh,
that's not even
fine,
weird.
that's
Like,
lovely.
forecast to become a cat four and it didn't.
Wasn't that last year at the same time as Goni?
You
Yeah,
think that's
that
bad,
was-
Thomas? When at Sania, when it was in Invest, and when it was first forming while Goni was blowing up.
You forecasted it to become a Cat 4.
I forecasted 155 miles an hour.
Yeah, literally the thing with Goni is
Because you
Yeah.
trust
We can't
GFS,
make our own
Ethan. Because you
forecast
trust it.
anymore.
with
Because you trust the model too much, Ethan.
I
Because
didn't
you trust them
forecast
so
that.
much.
Nathan did.
What?
Nathan forecasted that.
Hold on, I wasn't tuned in here. What was this?
At
About
Sani
that
2020, you told me to forecast 155 miles an hour, so I
For
did.
what storm?
At Sani 2020.
I don't even remember this storm.
To be fair about Atsani, everybody expected what Goni was to be Atsani.
Yeah, the
Oh,
models
that
were
one.
actually
Right.
The models were actually depicting that Atsani was gonna be what Goni became, but
Yeah, just like 2015 or 2017, whatever the last time Goni and Atsani were in the naming list.
2015.
But anyway, I'm still stuck on Enid Fanny right now. It's my number one in the list on Force 13 Try Not to Laugh challenge. Can we think of anything else?
Nathan, I
Thomas
can tell
Schwent
you're
is trying
not
to laugh.
laugh.
No, you are.
Well, no,
save
I
gas.
get to say I find it funny because I never said I was immune to it. You said you were immune to it.
I am absolutely immune to it.
Oh, sure, I'm sure. Let's play the clip right now and see how you do.
No, I've played it. We played it on the on
We
day
did,
one.
but your reaction wasn't on it now, was it?
No, well, you can set that up for next time then.
Oh my. Well,
Stop.
But I reckon there's funnier bloopers. I mean, what is the... I want to know
How
from the
about
viewers...
My
what-
Siri moment.
What from the viewers? What is
subject to getting timed out in the chat?
what is the number one blooper that you would put on the try not to laugh challenge that you think most people percentage would not be able to contain their laughter?
I have
Timer mic failure. Timer mic failure.
I think I have a whole bunch of Mittens bloopers which would probably fit the bill just because Mittens ruining things.
There is a 5-minute stretch of a U.S. stream that took place last year.
Right.
That contains 3 golden moments. The birth of Flash Flood Warning Thomas,
Yes.
me ranting Velocity Pixels dying,
Yes.
and then the greatest moment, which is David Tones out of nowhere randomly saying, "Hey, little
Yes.
boy."
Oh, I remember all that. I totally remember that.
Hey, little boy. Oh, sorry about that. It's the grandson.
Actually, no, I just forgot it.
Hey, I made Thomas laugh.
You did.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yes.
What about
where
Nathan's
Ricky
Heimer?
said the F word that rhymes with truck.
Who?
That was pretty funny.
Who said
That's
that?
not
When?
funny.
13 Sunday stream. He said the F word that rhymes with truck.
Who
Yeah,
did?
we think we know what F word you're on about.
Rishi.
Oh,
I
Christian,
remember you were on
why?
this one. I think it was one of the
What?
New Jersey
I didn't say
tornado
anything.
events. That involved me being in the risk for severe weather as well. And I remember when I was looking to Maryland for a short time and there was like a line of storms, I'm like, I'm surprised this hasn't been severe warned yet. And then 5 seconds later, a warning pops up for that area I was talking about.
Xavier, I've just realized something that I
If
feel
New Jersey
very
was under a
important to
tornado
address.
outbreak, I was on that stream.
What did you realize, Thomas?
I realized that you never did end up getting a moderate risk this year.
I wasn't expecting it. I haven't gotten one since 2013.
I know.
I almost got a moderate risk this year.
Well, almost doesn't cut it, does it?
Thomas.
Guys, we've got some things from the chat going. Shut up, John.
Yes, shut up, John.
Shut up, John was really good.
Thomas, did you get a flash flood warning this year?
Unfortunately, yes, and I got pinged numerous times when
I
took
lost
place.
count of how many flash warnings I got after like 10.
I know
again,
that
Nathan
Xavier,
swearing at me.
Kay, Alfuria, and Ethan all pinged me at the time.
Very good.
And
Alfuria, I see your mouth moving, but I can't hear you.
You're still upset that I
Just realized I was
doing an out of context
Oh.
Boulder video.
Okay, I was wondering why everyone was ignoring me. So,
Because we
Schwen.
deserve to be ignored.
Okay, no, I muted myself because I was trying to call. No, I muted myself because my dad called me and we were gonna pay for tuition, and then turns out my college did an oopsie and didn't even put the link to make me pay for tuition in my banner account, which whatever. Schwen, do you remember that one time whenever I had that the footage of that river that was flooding?
Yes.
And how the National Weather Service never issued a flood warning?
Yes.
Wasn't that great?
That was one of the most stupid altercations I'd ever seen with the National Weather Service on Twitter ever.
What was this?
There was a creek that was about to start going onto the roads, near where I work, and I tagged the National Weather Service about it, DM'd them on Twitter saying, you might want to issue a flood warning just in case, and then they never got back to me and left me on red.
Oh, right.
Well, if we're talking about flash flood warnings, the National Weather Service here in Indianapolis accidentally issued a flash flood warning for Indianapolis as a test of a new employee at the National Weather Service.
Ooh.
Whenever every weather radio in Indianapolis, including mine,
Oh, man.
made me go crazy. And then, literally, like, right as the warning text over my weather radio is ending, I hear, the flash flood warning for Marion County has been canceled.
And was it like a sunny, bone-dry day outside as well?
Yes! Not a drop of rain at all!
Mm.
I think if we want a true try not to laugh challenge, we could just easily pull up the no context video now.
I suppose. Well, we can't do that
We
because some
can't
of
do
it
that
is.
yet because there's still it's not ready yet for.
It's
Force
not
13.
sanitized.
There's a few things we can't.
We're waiting.
show
We're
in it.
waiting for Schwent to do the obvious things, which is replace the IP address I responded to Rishi with the IP address for North Korea, because that totally who's gonna care about that one?
And the no words.
Oh, does Xavier not
For
know
me,
about
it's
this?
the Haimas ways.
Xavier, alright, so everyone here's about to hate me in like 5 seconds. So, yesterday,
Remember, we are
Rishi
live.
said something really stupid in regards to his university, so I responded. So I went up on Google and looked up University of Connecticut IP address, clicked the first link, and sent it to him. He's like, wait a minute.
For legal reasons, this is a joke, and do not do this,
Yes.
folks, because that is federal
Yeah,
crime.
for legal reasons, don't do this, but how in the world is it just one Google search away?
Now,
Many things are one Google search away.
in other news, Xavier, hello. Where's Mittens?
Other news.
Mittens is not
Where's
in
the
here.
cat?
Why
Get the
not?
cat. Get the cat. Come on, get the
Mittens
cat.
chose not to be in here.
I don't think we've done it on live streams before, but Mittens is like a what are they?
A pest.
You know, the people who can see the future. I forget what they call them now. You know, well,
Fortune teller?
in a way, yeah, I suppose something like that. A bit of a fortune teller, and or has some strong opinions as well. Does Mittens about some people on the team? I just wonder if we
Specifically Christian.
might be able to grab Mittens now and see what she thinks about.
Well, last I checked, she is currently sleeping, but I can't see if she will wake up and have a little chat.
We don't want to disturb her too bad. If she's really tired, just let her be. But
And we still have the rest of Hurricane Week, or Force 13 Week.
yeah.
That is true. Anyways, if we are that bored out of our minds, I can go over my plush collection.
No. You can stop. You can stop. It's time to stop.
I do have something of interest to talk about here, hopefully, depending on
Do
if I
you?
can actually pull it up. Give me just a second. This is either going to be a spectacular fail or actually something of interest to talk about.
All right.
Naoto, have we talked about the ATCF update to Naoto yet?
65
The what?
knots, is it?
You
Nope,
what?
60 knots, 987 millibars. 70 miles an hour, 987 millibars from ATCF.
And we can show you latest imagery of that as well, somewhere.
They amended something on Neato.
I personally believe that 60 knots is appropriate.
Now, whilst we're on here for another 20 minutes, it's a great opportunity for viewers to ask questions. Start your message with Force 13 all in text. I've not said this actually, and usually a broken record saying that all the time. Message us if you want to. Oh, look, there's Thingamajig.
There's Thingamajig.
Nyato right now, some of it. That's not the one I was expecting to show. I was trying to get the other version that we had earlier.
Okay, so when will Hone form? Never.
Could be never.
2022.
Ooh,
If
bold.
it forms, it's going to be a Category 5 slam into Hawaii, and everyone's just going to be going, whoa, Hone!
Iniki 92 repeat.
Isaac's got some good imagery up.
Isaac, tell us what's going on.
Well, my computer is. Oh, there it is.
It's a good one.
Well, my computer is.
As you can see, the storm is pushing some really deep convection right now. Over negative 90 degrees Celsius cloud tops.
Really?
There was some over 98 degrees Celsius cloud tops reported earlier in the storm, and now in the latest frames, you can see it's really trying to get a central dense overcast trying to get it to go. See that huge bang. This high east there that was just unraveling it the past few hours. Now it's starting to weaken a little bit, and now this area to the west of it, which is probably where the central dense overcast is at, is trying to take hold. And here's some satellite. That's of this. This is a disaster. This is some visible imagery of it as well as it's progressed through the day so far, and certainly on the uptrend in intensification right now.
Yeah, looking pretty good.
What a perfectly cut moment. Oh my goodness.
It's got impressive structure. I'm not sure about -9. Certainly not now. I don't know if it was earlier.
It's had over -90. I think actually up to -98 degrees at one point. That's obviously gone down a little bit, but certainly very, very cold.
When this becomes a typhoon, are we about to get a ring of -90s?
No.
Negative 106, something like that. Negative.
Really?
And 20.
Well,
I was measuring the cloud tops earlier. I was measuring the cloud tops a couple hours.
Little bit.
I was getting like -93.
I heard was -90s earlier, and that just tells me we're gonna get a ring of -90s on this when it becomes a major typhoon. Let's go.
No.
Don't be silly.
You know, I hope it becomes a December Cat 5, just so you know Dakota can lose that bet, you know?
I mean, it could become a December Cat 5.
If it does, then I'm screwed.
It just needs
What
to
was that
begin
bet you made?
rapidly intensifying. It needs to
In
like
earnest,
explosively intensify here pretty soon, or it's not going to manage it. It's very large, so I have my doubts
Oh, yeah.
about it getting there.
Well, there have been a lot of large Westpac storms that have started out like this.
Yes,
and
but
have gotten to Cat 5.
But this ain't gonna do it
Ram-
because it doesn't have the time. It doesn't have enough time.
What's the ocean heat content looking like on this?
Doesn't matter. It's ridiculous. That's not going to be the limiting factor, though. Like, it's insane what the OHC is because it's the Western
The
Pacific.
Philippine Sea has always been boiling. The Philippine Sea has always been boiling. We know that for years.
The major issue though is once this thing starts speeding off towards the northeast, it's gonna get torn to shreds.
Right, yeah.
We have some more questions. Sort of controversial, but would you guys support a unified cyclone class system based on pressure rather than wind speed, as pressure is usually better at measuring human impact?
Can't we base it on CDPS?
No.
Kay is someone who I know is a very strong advocate for pressure over wind speed.
And I also agree. I think...
I can agree with that too. The pressure is a very important aspect.
I'm personally an advocate of CDPS over either of those. And the main reason that I advocate for CDPS is because the cyclone destruction potential scale is the most comprehensive way of measuring real-world impacts in the world. It's the best way to do it that we have. There will be a very impressive white paper coming out at some point in regards to it from Devon, I know. Don't know how long that's going to be, but I know a very impressive white paper is on the way. That is going to explain why, but in most basic terms, Devon has compiled a massive database of tropical cyclones, landfalls in the past few decades, and has decided to figure out which of, like, I believe it was over 20 variables at first, have the best correlation with real-world impact. So what he found was that there were 4 key factors to it, and you can see them on our graphs. The threat to land, the rainfall, the wind, and the storm size. And using those, you can get a very good idea of just how damaging the storm ends up being. It's a better predictor than pressure or wind in terms of the damage that will be caused by the cyclone. So wind is okay. Pressure's good. CDPS is better.
Yeah, I mean, here's the deal whenever it comes to CDPS, is that it's going to be a change that I think the general public will have maybe some trouble adjusting to, especially whenever... And that's my main concern here whenever we switch systems, because and this is where I get into pressure, right? The issue with pressure is that your average American doesn't know what the heck a millibar is.
No, but they don't really know what wind speed correlates with in terms of categories either. Pressure would just be changing what the category that's stated is based on. The general public message will remain the same at each category. And CDPS is just a 1 to 10 instead of a 1 to 5 scale. So it's not like the adjustment's going to be huge, especially if it were adjusted to be a 1 to 5 scale. to accommodate for the 1 to 5 scale that we've been using for such a long time.
Interesting. Another question. Will there be a version 2 of the 1979 Pacific Typhoon season, since the original came out 9 years ago?
Was that? That's actually on my to-do list. It's just been waiting for reanalysis for the last 9 months.
Okay, great. Another question. Will you be making 1983 East Pack?
Oh, Ethan, come on now. Come on, Ethan. Come on now.
Why don't we get the official one? Current version exists. Come on.
Okay, hold on.
He's been making the real world version actually as we speak.
Yes, that is true. I'm actually animating it literally right now, actually.
There we go.
So that hit kind of hard.
At least they didn't set
And
1914
Xavier, what were
Atlantic
you
hurricane
saying
season.
about December 5th?
And on December 5th, if you saw Turret's 1982 Eastern Pacific recreation on the Extra Channel, there is a sequel to that. 1983 is coming out Sunday, December 5th on there.
Joy of
Is he putting
joys.
another tropical storm into Alaska?
There is no tropical storm into Alaska this time, I can promise that.
Oh, for God's sake.
More questions. Will Force 13 upgrade Sam to Cat 5?
I hope not.
I don't know.
No.
We have actually been having a analyst discussion behind the scenes, and it does appear quite likely that we will be upgrading to a Category 5. It just what exactly the wind speed is subject to change.
I would cast a hard doubt over that one.
And if you're going to upgrade Sam to Cat 5, then upgrade Matthew to Cat 5 again.
No.
Well, speaking of which,
Standard, yeah.
a question just came out. Is the 2016 at North Atlantic Part version 2 planned? Oh no. Not at the moment.
No.
I mean, there's much more evidence for Sam being a Category 5 than there is for Matthew, because Recon actually got the actual peak of Matthew, but for Sam you have to do a little bit of backtracking, because well, yes, Recon did get 929 millibars. Satellite estimates estimate the peak to be a little bit earlier than what Recon got, so you have to kind of do some reverse calculations there. And,
I acknowledge it's got a stronger case than Lorenzo does.
Yes,
Yeah.
it does.
My question.
Who moved me out of the green room?
Yes, Kay, can we help you?
Okay,
It went back to the green room.
So my question, and this is what we think the NHC will do. Do we think? I think they went a peak of IDA of 150. Do we think they're going to go 155 or 160 on it?
They will not go 160. They will not.
No.
For which
155, maybe.
For IDA?
I'd say for IDA 155 at the most, but 150 is a really good estimate for that one.
Yeah, 150 miles an hour is a strong, decent, good estimate for IDA.
Yeah.
Nothing more, nothing less.
Yeah, and speaking of IDA, I remember literally I was on that stream when it was explosively intensifying over that eddy, and then I ended up right before landfall. My mic was on mute, and I ended up falling asleep in the call when that happened. And then I wake up, and then I was just going through land, and then a day later I'm just on a US stream covering my state going underwater in the first ever EF3 and tornado emergency in New Jersey history. So yeah, Ida was just not a fun storm.
And then as a post-tropical cyclone, it dumps literally triggers the first flash flood emergency for the city of New York City, and does $40 billion in damages in the Northeast alone.
Yeah, that's why I said I was literally on that stream because, my state was underwater. We had the first ever flash flood emergencies in New Jersey and the first tornado emergency in New Jersey, which I know Ethan was talking about this last night, and I'm going to say why Mount Holly pulled the trigger on it. It's because literally not even a month and a half before, there was another tornado outbreak.
EF4?
No, I'm talking about tornado emergency.
Yeah, I know. I remember that.
There was another tornado outbreak in the state of New Jersey a month and a half before, where we had multiple EF2s, and you had the EF3 that went through Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. And literally those were they had a bunch of PDS warnings that went out. The first ever PDS warnings in the state of New Jersey's history during that outbreak, and the one that went through Trenton then, that EF2, they nearly pulled the trigger on that for tornado emergency. So the tornado emergency that they issued during Ida, they didn't want to take any chances on that, because the cell produced the EF3 near EF4 tornado down there in South Jersey, just to the west of Rowan University over in Mullica Hill. So, and Trenton, literally a month and a half before, was under a PDS from the EF2, which nearly went Tory. So they wanted to take zero chances on that, and that's why they went Tory on that. It was only an EF1, and you can't, predict what Tory is going to be an EF5 and what's going to be an EF1. Like the Tupelo Tory was an EF1, but
Or you get
Bassfield
Noonan.
was an EF4.
Welcome back, Kay.
Tory for New Jersey, that was only an EF1. And that, I'm just saying why they issued the Tory.
I think that looking at them issuing the Tory, especially during Ida, is that we're also talking about a situation where we're dealing with. I think this was probably one of the most active years for tornadoes for the Northeast in general.
Yeah.
And so when we think of most significant tornadoes for these areas, we are talking EF3, maybe EF4 if you really want to go there.
Well, EF1s and EF2s can still do a lot of damage up
there. They can still do a lot of damage, but I'm just talking about the general max.
Well, we've never had. I don't think we've ever had an EF5. Actually, I lied. We may have had an EF5 up in the New Jersey, not in New Jersey, but maybe somewhere in the Northeast. I don't know.
There have been EF5s in the Northeast.
Yeah, but I
not
think
EF5s, F5s.
F5.
Yeah,
okay.
But one of the main things that I really think Ida just kind of proves is that one of the things that we were really concerned about, and one of the analogs for Ida we had early on, was Camille. That was the analog we had for Ida as it was making its way towards Louisiana.
Yeah, we had analog on Camille, and I know the NHC and the SPC, tornado-wise, they were going analog on Ike, Katrina, Gustav.
But here's the deal, because I did research on Camille because I was originally going to do a video on it, and then I canceled it because it was getting too lengthy. Not too lengthy, it was getting too short. One of the things I noticed in my research is that the majority of the deaths and damage didn't come from the areas where it hit the coast. It was in Virginia. That's where most of the deaths came from. And it did this as a remnant low. In the very eerie similarity between these two, most of the deaths came from when it was a post-tropical low.
Yeah, and literally with Ida, especially in North Central Jersey, in
New York Metro,
and Northeast Jersey, literally Ida's rainfall shattered records from Floyd
Irene.
of 99 and Irene of 2011.
In certain places, though, the peak records held for all the previous storms. Just local records fell.
Well, no, I'm talking about the river levels, the flooding rivers.
Yeah, that's
out
exactly
in
what I'm
Northwest,
talking about. Only
out in
local
Northwest
records
Jersey, no records broke because that was I forget what storm from the 50s or 60s, but I know Devin was talking about it. But in Northeast Jersey and the eastern parts of Central Jersey, literally flooding records set by Floyd and Irene were shattered by Ida, and it was a post-tropical system.
Fascinating. And I think the storm you were talking about in the 50s would have been Diane.
Yes, Diane. That's what it was. Because I know Devin was paying attention to West Jersey and northeastern Pennsylvania to see what Ida was doing, and then Ida did not do anything close to Diane. Literally, Diane's records are just absolutely insane.
We have a K.
Absolutely insane.
Yes, there's K once again.
Kay has been talking a bit.
Oh my God! K face reveal.
But visible.
Visible K.
Visible imagery.
Hey, you got a nice
Visible
forehead.
imagery.
So Thomas and Christian, I don't know if you guys have any plans after tonight's stream and doing any updates on these storms right out there right now.
I might actually.
Really?
Well, for me, it's approaching 1 a.m., so it's a bit too late for me now.
Yeah, speaking of, go to bed, Christian.
Don't forget, I'm here.
No.
Well, I see Christian online. Last night you went to bed at 2:30 a.m., didn't you?
Around then.
So what's the matter?
Thing is, normally I turn my laptop off at 2 a.m.
Right.
And yeah, I don't think I'll be able to produce an update in an hour. Especially we've got to wrap the stream up first.
Yes, indeed.
I
But
will say 11 a.m. Philippine Standard Time. There will be an update coming out.
oh, there will. Because I was just wondering, because if we did have something planned, we'd obviously want to let everyone know right now.
Yeah, I wasn't aware, but yeah, now that Thomas has said it, then it's happening.
Is there gonna be an update on 92S, or is because that's gonna not last long? There's not gonna be
I
one.
don't think there'll be chance for us to do an update on that.
Probably not, judging how not long of a time it's got left.
Yeah.
94W.
There will absolutely be a window.
94W, maybe.
Oh no,
I can't
94W is definitely going to be getting updates to when it.
Hmm.
Not.
When
I
it
think it's
forms,
a
that
when
is.
it forms. I don't think it's an if it forms.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's an issue of when, not if.
Indian Ocean's had a lot of false signals recently.
I don't know if it's been discussed, but ATCF has 92S as a TD.
ATC. Wait.
Well, there was a TCFA issued for it by JTWC.
It's
so
now a
it's a TD.
35 mile an hour TD as of 0Z.
I don't know about
Yeah,
that.
it was
Look at
35 miles
They
an hour.
downgraded
18.
it?
Sorry, it was yeah, they've downgraded.
1006.
Yeah, because
Down.
now they had it as a 35
It
knot,
was 40 at 18, and
which
now
is 40 mile an hour.
All right, more questions. James Connor says, will you do version 2s of the 2009 East Pack and West Pack seasons?
I can say 2009 East Pack is coming later down the line. I'm not sure on the West Pack side of things, though.
West Pack was interesting that year, my first year of tracking worldwide. I mean, in the Western Pacific, as we look back at imagery of the South Indian Ocean there right now, Western Pacific, you know, I started tracking about which one came first? It was
Bill.
No, in the Western Pacific, I can't remember which one. Was Quetzana first, or was that later after Palmer and Milor?
I'm not sure.
Anyway, I was around when all of those were going on, and the Philippine viewers will remember those storms that just everything was stalling over Luzon, basically, particularly Quetzana, which caused dreadful problems, and also in Vietnam.
I see a question in the chat about any thoughts of Odette from this past season in the North Atlantic.
Which Odette? Which Odette?
North Atlantic, the one that didn't deserve to exist, but it exists anyway because
the one that nearly reformed by the Azores.
If something else, I can give my thoughts on it if you want to hear me be brutally honest about this storm. It had a very close, very close to.
We have to wrap up.
To keep it short, very close contender to my most hated storm of this season, and that's saying something.
Well, there was also Kate, which just should not have existed at all.
Yeah, but did it form over a Walmart? No.
Oh dear. Well, thanks for the reminder, Christian, but we do have to wrap it up here, folks. Tomorrow we have got more Super Cyclone Challenge. Hopefully I'll get to take a look at the top 10 iconic Storm updates if I can package it in time, because I've done everything with like a day in advance and I'm not sure if I'll get a chance. If not, we'll just chat to the team again because they seem to enjoy it. We have a special guest at midnight UTC tomorrow. And more team interviews on the horizon, as well as apparently the Team Hypo from what we've heard tonight, coming up at 11:30 p.m. UTC. Thursday, you don't want to miss Guess the Storm, and Friday, you really don't want to miss the 2017 Atlantic Hurricane Season version 2. And if that wasn't enough, Saturday is Force 13's Force for Good, and Sunday is the release of the 2021 Mega Mix, with loads more besides in terms of games. Guess the Storm, Super Cyclone Challenge, Fury of the Storm on Sunday. But from me and the team, that's it from us tonight. And I've been up for a very long time. I'm going to go straight to bed. Good night.
Good night.
May the light panda guide you.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Easter and Merry 4th of July, everyone.
Have a merry off season and happy Christmas.